Hey, I am Jim the GM, and we are here for our 11th game. This is the real 11th game. We tried it a couple weeks ago, and my internet absolutely hated me. So now we're doing better. And I've got with us three of the four of us tonight. Andy won't be joining us. He's busy. We hope he gets everything done that he needs to get done and that he enjoys going back and watching this because that's what we all do. We are all super diligent in our games with our friends, and we want to make sure I'm lying. It doesn't happen. We hope that we get the best review that we can at the beginning of the next game. So, talking about that, I've got with me Caleb, Mike, and Matt, and they're going to introduce themselves and their characters, remind us who they're playing, what they look like, and then Caleb's going to give us a quick wrap up of what happened the last time with all the Darklings. So, Matt, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, Matt. Today I am playing Big G. His real name is Giafzug. He is a Kundarak dwarf. He is much thinner and slight, more slight than normal dwarves, and he generally wears quite nice robes, but he has a lot of tinkering gear on. When he's working, especially, he sort of puts on an overalls, and he has his little zooming goggles that he has always on his head, and he carries around a little toolbox with him that has all sorts of fun stuff in it. And with him is a little construct, a little robot, I suppose, machine, and he's created that out of scrap, and it looks like a small version of a manticore, and that sort of comes with him each day. And I'm just real interested to see how my fellows are gonna help close these portals, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go forward. Should be very interesting.
Nice. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. I'm playing Molinari, a apparently human, but he has some connection to a spirit. He's a Kalishtar. He's kind of a tall, dark, and foreign looking to just the common person on the street, and people would probably think that he is not from the city, except he seems to be on a first name basis with some of the street rat kind of kids that live in the poor parts of town. He's usually found walking out of alleys that don't seem to have an exit on the other side, in just kind of plainish leather that is very old. You can tell just by looking at it closely. It's been sewn back together hundreds of times, and he's intrigued about learning more of the portals that he has already discovered a little bit about, but he wants to help get that under control in the city because it's his city, and he wants to protect it. So that's Molinari. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Caleb, go ahead.
All right. My name is Caleb. I am playing Brother Lastings. Brother Lastings is a often wearing sort of ceremonial or highly polished, well-kept armor and gear and things like that. He has a lot of jewelry, necklaces, rings very prominently. He's got the classic head coach of the Iceland hockey team in Ducks 2 with the black hair, wet and back. But yeah, other than that, I would say that's he hangs out at the church a lot, prays on a tar, so that's Lastings. He is sort of mixed in well. He's the guy that the rich folks come to asking for, hey, will you pray for my shop, and hope for that good favors and things like that. And of course, for a price, Brother Lastings will definitely help saying words. But anyway, yeah, he is. Anyway, he's a cleric. So last time we kind of picked up, I think Molinari. It's whatever I say it is. Molinari.
Yeah, those either one could be right. Molinari pronounces it like I just did, but
Okay.
he only knows his name from reading it. So feel free to pronounce it how you'd like to.
So Molinari kind of joined. Let's see, Jerrock, Big G, and Lastings in the sewers after we had dispatched of a handful of rats and then a cloaked figure sort of off in the distance. After what was his name? What is your companion's name?
Ratty?
Ratty. Boom. After Ratty pursued this cloaked figure, when all was said and done, he was either knocked unconscious or dead or something. The cloaked figure, that is, and he lit up in a bright light and sort of poofed into some ashes. We kept following, trail here further and further into the sewers until finally we came up to this sort of raised pedestal. If I recall, about 20 feet out of the water, and at the top we could hear somebody sort of speaking to us. And I believe this was, what was this guy's name? So throw me a softball.
Rack.
Rack. That's right.
Rack.
Rack. Lots of M's. Anyway, so Rock was up at the top, and he was waving around. I believe it was a pike or something along those lines. That was a stolen weapon from another gang's leader named Knock Knock, and it was supposed to be his sort of special power. And if I recall, Knock Knock is something special as well. We can get into that a little bit later. But our mission was to get this back for ourselves as members of the Hand. They didn't want us to come too close. Lastings was trying to help provide light and things like that, so everybody who couldn't see in the dark might be able to see better down here. And a chord was struck when Mrock said that he, once he unlocked the power of this weapon, they could get home through portals. Through some conversation, the party found out that these Darklings are not from Eberron. They're not from Vedikar, is where we're at, right? All right. Points for me. But anyway, so that's what we found out. Lastings was like, hey, I can solve all your problems. I can identify what that is. I'm magic. And after a little bit of hesitancy, he was able to talk him into it. And he got up on top of the little raised dais, and he realized there were 3 different Darklings kind of standing here. But he opened up his book and began an incantation, and after an amount of time, he came to find out that this wasn't that special of a weapon, and that the power wasn't in the weapon. It must have been in Knock Knock. And so when he broke the news, Mrock was disbelieving. It couldn't be true, this sort of thing. And sort of threatened Lastings. Sort of in a last-ditch effort, Lastings grabbed the pike, cast light upon it, and jumped backwards off of the dais, wherein a fight ensued. Not much of a fight. I believe Umrock got melted very quickly, along with a handful of some other Darklings. They all lit up and poofed in a bright flash of light and turned to ash. One was trying to get away, but even he was going to be an adventurer until he caught an arrow to the knee. Same type of deal. Before leaving the place, we gathered up any evidence that might have looked like the Hand was there in any way, shape, or form, and with some ash and oil, a note was written on the wall by Big G in some phonetically spelled nonsense. I believe it says knock knock was here, or knock knock sends his regards, something like that. As to try and pin the blame elsewhere. We got out of the sewers the next day. We went back to go talk to, and I do not have these names. We went back to go talk to the second hand of the hand, and
Temperance.
Temperance came in, or we came into Temperance's office and sat down. The glaive or pike or whatever it might have been. I think it was a glaive. Set it down, and then one of the guards actually came in after we were promised that we would meet the leader and a member of the town guard. He's a bugbear. His name is Symbol. He's sort of almost like the top of a can, peeling backwards and from side to side, and from within Symbol, this half lady, half lion called a Lamia, sort of peered through and told us about these portals that were popping up, and how this was happening more and more often, and that it was sort of our goal was going to be part of trying to fix this problem so that no one could essentially step in on our turf. Yes. It's called a Libya or something. But anyway, what's the leader's name? I bet I have that written down.
Aspherica.
I do have it written down. Aspherica gave us, basically told us that she was going to sort of test our allegiance to the hand, and we each had these little beetles, these little scarabs, and she told us to eat them. And when we did, we sort of gained heightened prowess in a specific aspect of what our characters are good at, sort of honing in and making us even better.
Mine tasted the worst.
What?
Mine tasted the worst. It almost killed me.
Yeah. The Kalstar was not used to the tasty bug treats. Then the Lamia Aspherica sort of went back into Symbol, and Symbol kind of looked at us and said, "Well, that's it," and left. Actually, I think the last thing it was him saying, "What are we going to do next?" So I believe that's where we're at.
Awesome. So, guys, what we're going to do is time has passed. Probably about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Nothing big to bring everybody together, but you've probably been doing some smaller jobs that, however, smaller but still requiring somebody of your statute, because you guys are, as we talked about at the end of the last game, you guys are a big part of this now. You could say that you're captains within this guild. There aren't too many people that are above you, but you could have been doing whatever you want to keep up your day-to-day lives. You could have been helping out the hand. You could have been taking time off to go see somebody. But all of that, this is the first time you all have been together again, and you are back inside of the room with Temperance. And Temperance is in her typical position, leaned up against the desk on the far side of the room with her hands behind her, feet and ankles crossed in front of her. And how are you guys sitting in this room? I always like to get that image of where everybody is.
The first time we came here, I believe there was a couch on one side.
Oh, yeah.
And per usual, Lastings is sitting sideways with his legs stretched out on the couch, sort of leaned back on one of the armrests.
Cool.
I think Molinari is showing up late again and enters through the closet door that everyone knows is a closet, but he's kind of stumbles in like Kramer, like oh, okay, good. I took a wrong turn. You know. And
Okay.
take a seat near Brother Lastings.
And Big G, he'll just sit himself on sort of separate a little bit, just on the seat. He'll just be quiet. He'll just nod in a general direction and wait to see what she has to say.
So she is sitting, or she's leaning, and she looks up at you, and she's talking to you about your next job. It's a big deal. You don't all get brought together for any reason. And she looks at you and she's going, so Knock Knock. Knock Knock has been pushing the boundaries. Knock Knock has been making retaliatory actions toward the hand and toward the nobility in town. Gentlemen, I think it's time that, well, we have to bring the fight to Knock Knock. Due to his increased activity since you acquired that glaive, the danger is very real. And not just to us, but to those that we represent, to their livelihood, and not just the hand's livelihood. And you can all think of something that's happened recently. Gersog, you know of another shop owner who's just strictly a smith, but his wares are very, very nice, and who you converse with that had his entire shop ransacked. And in the same way, some of your old friends have been not you, Gersog. Come on, Jim. I'm losing all my names. Molinari, some of your old friends from your childhood, like, have turned up missing. People that you still have kept contact with that may not have been able to break out of the dregs, as it were. They have gone missing, or even you've heard stories of them being tortured. Brother Lastings, you have actually had on the side of your holy building, you have had scrawled with some nasty, dirty paint, Knock Knock sends his regards, almost knowing that, or at least accusing you of having been directly a part of his troubles. From outside the door, you begin to hear a woman becoming a little bit loud with the person. Sir, I'm sorry, Lord. You're going to have to move on. You're going to have this. This is not the time. And you hear, right as the door begins to open, I will go in there if I want. And into the room walks Lord Victor Martin. Victor Martin is a very Christian Bale-looking man, dressed in dark, fine clothes, short cape hanging off of his left shoulder. And you're all familiar with Lord Victor Martin because he is what he prefers to call himself, a retired member of the Hand. He is no longer active, but you know that you can't just say you quit. And he comes in, and he walks right past all of you, taking no notice of you, right up to the counter, right up to where Temperance is standing, and she does not flinch. And he comes up, Miss Stonemill, the killer is getting out of hand. 2 bodies have been found in the upper district with their heads removed. He is past the point of encroaching. He has crossed our proverbial doorsteps and come into our homes. It is past the time that for this to be handled by the real power of this city. Do you understand? And Temperance then looks to the 3 of you and looks back at him, sighs, and says, Lord Martin, I agree. There are other things, though, that need to be done to preserve our. And Lord Martin goes, damn it, Miss Stonemill, I do not care. It is time for action. It is no longer just the dregs. It is no longer just the lowlifes. It is no longer everybody else but us. Now it includes us. And she looks at him and says, and she puts her hands up and says, I agree. This is more important than Knock Knock right now. I'm positive that I will be able to find a capable group of men. And as she says this final part, she makes eye contact with the 3 of you. A capable group of men to take care of this. And he stops, finally realizes, and looks around the room and sees the 3 of you. And the look on his face is realizing that he has interrupted, but quickly wipes away any sign of showing that he has made a faux pas.
Like, he's been in these meetings before, though, so he's kind of...
Right, but there's also a certain level of secrecy that you guys are understand that him walking right in is a big no-no on this meeting. Gentlemen, pardon my intrusion. Miss Stonemill, see that this is taken care of. And Lord Martin turns, cape flowing, and walks out of the room. Door shuts. She watches the door shut, then looks at the 3 of you. Gentlemen, plans have changed. Knock Knock is a threat. But this has become bigger than we had wished. And you are all 3 familiar with murders that have been taking place at night, people that have been found headless. Recently, there have been 2 over the past 2 nights who have been found headless. One of them was identified as Riker Schmidt, and the other, it has not been confirmed, but is believed to be a Mrs. Heather Dean. Gentlemen, find this, take care of this, the sooner the better. Honestly, if I have to, I was hoping to send in a small strike force to take care of Knock Knock, at least to hold him off for a while, convince him that his decision right now is very poor. But unfortunately, I may be having to send in a full assault of a larger group of people.
Are
Field.
Mr. Schmidt and Mrs. Dean part of the organization?
They are not.
But other people of our organization or of the nobles, were they nobles?
Absolutely.
Right. Have there been other murders of people that are of less high standing as well? Or is it?
Absolutely. Right now,
Okay.
it's at the point of dozens.
Okay. So it doesn't look like nobles are specifically being targeted, but they're being included.
And only just recently.
Right. So it started off maybe with lower commoners and then sort of has ramped up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do we know if any of the members of the city guard / authority have been murdered?
If you want to find that out, you'll have to go talk to the guard.
Okay.
As I said, gentlemen, Temperance says, the sooner this gets done, the better.
So Big G, he's just like, he sighs and he says, so seems to me like we have 3 pretty heady issues. We have these portals appearing around town that we have to figure out how to deal with them, and obviously we have someone in our group that can detect them. We have these murders going on and obviously need to stop them. And we have the fact that Knock Knock is still at large, but we can maybe hold off for a little bit on that. It seems like there's a lot going on. If something else happens while we're out and about, should we entertain that, or are we just like focused on this one thing only? If a portal opens, can we investigate it? Like,
I think this murder sounds pretty immediate, but if the murder's, using portals or something, we can cross that bridge when we come. We can go through that portal when we come to it, as it were.
Though his attempt at humor is base, I do agree with Mr. Molinari. If for some reason a portal does open up right beside you, be my guest, take a look at it. But right now, your main goal is to find out who is doing this killing and to stop it. Nothing will hurt us more at this point than if the nobility and the aristocracy of town does not have faith in the hand. Though we are not supposed to be working in the open, and we are not supposed to be recognized, we are still expected to do what's best for the aristocracy as a whole.
Very good. Big J is happy to take this lead and go and chat with Symbol, I guess, at least to get us started.
Good luck with that, friend. So go ahead.
Temperance, does the hand have any more information other than there's some murders that happened?
The information that we have specifically has not necessarily been our business. We have been able to keep track of what's been going on through town news and criers and broadsheets. However, to get the most specific information, I would go down and talk to a watch.
Are there other family members for Ms. Dean
Or Schmidt?
or Schmidt still? Do we know whether or not anybody's talked to them?
I assume that, well, Sinvul says that he has his best on the job.
Okay.
What
Very good.
about Lord Martin? Why is he so worried? He seemed. Was he seeing Miss Dean, or what's? He seemed very excited about these murders.
Well, as I'm sure you remember, Lord Martin was a very active participant in the last war. And so he typically tends to be a man of action. And any time that there is inaction in the face of his people, it is seen as a sign of cowardice. Obviously, he can let his emotions get the better of him sometimes, but in this situation, I do believe that he is right, and it would be best to stop this, especially that it is affecting the aristocracy directly.
You said we know of Martin, like just from him being in the organization. Was he like really high up, or was he just like on our level, or?
Absolutely. He was on your level, but that was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
The war took a bit of a hit on the group after the war was finished, because many people, having been a part of the organization, having been a part of the hand, obviously weren't able to do as much work for the hand if they were a part of the military, especially during that war specifically. However, when many of them came back, their perspective had been changed enough to a point that they wanted out. So the current face or makeup of the hand is many younger aristocratic members.
All right. Well, I suppose we should seek out the watch.
So here's how, well, excuse me, before I move on, Lastings, is there anything you wanted to say? Okay. So then this is how it's going to work. You guys have one beat. You get one option tonight because as you want to go through something, it's going to take time. At this point, it's well into the dark part of the night. It's about 11:30, and you do have options. If you want to just start off patrolling the streets, you just want to be on the lookout for it and try to get a head start and see if you can be ready to respond, you can. If you want to do something like specifically go to the scene of one of the crimes and try to investigate or find the killer from that perspective, you can. If you want to go and find out just specifically what the night watch knows, cool, you've got that time to be able to go do that. You could, even if you want to do something silly like, I want to find the heads, then if you want to go hunt for people's heads, you can. If you want to do something outside of that, you can. But you don't necessarily have enough time to do all of it.
Okay. So maybe if we just offer each offer some ideas and then decide or something. I think we all kind of want to go at least to know what the watch knows. But let's figure out exactly how we want to do that.
Now we can all choose our own beat, correct? Like we don't all have to go talk to the.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
So Lastings would offer up trying to make himself bait for the killer
or the murderer. Great.
Yeah, just because I mean he is definitely. If the last two people were high society folks, he has a certain penchant for dressing up very lavishly and making it himself. People are aware that he is a high society individual himself. So he would say that could be something. He doesn't mind talking to people or investigating scenes of the crime or any crimes. But yeah.
Think of, do you have so being bait, it's a good idea. Go for it. Do you have information? You have basic idea based off of broadsheets where some of the murders may have happened, and all of the information that you have before finding out what the Night Watch has specifically. All you have is what's been released to the public.
I don't know that would necessarily deter Lastings. He thinks he's had a good idea, even though it's not very well thought through.
Okay, cool.
And
I like that.
So that at the end of the day, like I say,
Maybe.
I'm open to whatever, but that's like the off the top of the head.
I mean, you could also you could be bait while also seeking something out. I mean, I think just by the nature of our characters, I think that you're probably the most likely in the party to just get snuck up on by a murderer that's killing people. Just you have the most public face out of the three of us. So I think if you were just like walking the streets and like maybe I'll go down this alley alone. Like
maybe I'll
there's something
roll
shiny
on
over
the
here.
dark portion.
Yeah, instead of maybe investigating a specific crime scene or anything like that, what if I sort of walked? How close together are the two crime scenes?
They're in they're within the same district, but the district's pretty large. The upper district's pretty large, so it's not like they're a block apart.
Okay. I think what he would probably do. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll. What are the two crime scenes? Do we know?
You know that both happened at night. One was down by the market, and another one was in a residential portion of the district.
Do either of the two locations, by the time I could get there, would they still have foot traffic?
It's 11:30 at night.
Is that a yes or a no?
If there's foot traffic, there's a certain. It's understood what kind of people are doing foot traffic. It could be people who are members of gangs or guilds. It could be people who are members of certain professions. It's typical, or it could be people who are trying to hide a late night tryst. But there's definitely, it's not like, oh, it's late night, we're going to go out for a joyride.
Cool. Then yeah, I would probably. I don't know. I feel like my talents are best used probably questioning somebody. So I don't know necessarily. I guess residential district is probably uh, where I would want to go.
So, are you saying that it's like patrolling the streets being bait?
Not necessarily. I think I would probably start canvassing a little bit, like going up to neighbors and just sort of asking questions and stuff like that, and getting a general feel for who the target was, and then maybe go actually specifically hone in and talk to the family.
Okay. Do remember again, it's 11:30 at night right now.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go. So what you're wanting to do is go door knocking after midnight.
I
just want to be clear on this.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I think where his head's at is this is a pretty serious thing. If it's gotten into the realm of the hand, people in this area might be more willing to help out since they know who I am.
Yeah, he's going around as a religious man, checking on his flock, making sure everyone's made it home safe tonight.
Okay. I'm down. Then Molinari or Gerfsog?
Part of me feels like alone is not the best idea at night in the city.
Do the guard like is there a 24-hour guard station?
So there definitely are stations all around, and there are definitely shifts as well. So like you're just looking for somebody who's a part of the night watch rather than just typical watch.
Okay. So I'll tell you what skills or like the surrounding about my thought process. So I'm a Kundarak dwarf. So, locks and mechanisms and alarms and those sorts of things, security things are our shtick. In addition to that, I'm actually dragon marked, so I have higher ability with those things than normal. What I'm thinking is, being that, we've been hearing about these things, I could go to some sort of guard post or something and sort of say, look, this is who I am. These are the skills that I have. All of these things have been happening. And specifically because I'm a noble as well, other nobles have been killed recently. I want to help. Will you allow me to help? What more information can you give? That's kind of on the level that I want to be.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I want to be doing.
Cool. I get what you're putting down. And Molinari, what's your goal?
Is there a place in the city, how in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where the Foot Clan attracts all the all the street kids?
Yeah.
Is there a place that is like the safe place for kids that don't have a home to go back to, like where they stay together or something like that I can go?
Sure. Why not?
Check with the invisible people if they saw anything.
Okay. That's cool.
Kind of where I'm thinking. Cool.
Sounds good. Then we will start with Molinari. Here we go. Molinari, you make it down to a little bit of the lower quadrant. You may have realized that, what we're doing is it's become a problem, and we're moving in on it because it's moving into the aristocracy. But if there are dozens dead, and so far it's only 2 that's moving into the aristocracy, is a big deal. That means there's still dozens that are not, and it triggers with you the thought you have friends that you keep in contact with who have gone missing, and maybe because of your background, the only people who notice them missing are the people specifically with a relation to them.
Mhm. Yeah, so I
So,
think
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think Molinari would kind of he probably grew up in and out of this space where the kids of the street go back to, and so he's really familiar with it, and he's probably going to walk in looking for someone who like can't get to sleep because of what they've seen that day or in the last couple days. They're like somebody that's real scared.
Cool. Go ahead and then you can make a perception roll, or you can make an investigation roll at advantage.
Sorry, 15 with perception.
All right. With that 15, you notice that there is a small human girl off to the side. She's about 14 years old, and she's just small and frail little thing named Misha. And Misha is over in one of the corners, um, sitting there playing with a deck of cards, shuffling upon reshuffling and reshuffling, practicing some sleight of hand. But you know that even from your childhood, that for little kids, either you're sleeping because you're tired, or this is the time that you do some of your best work. And she's neither sleeping nor working.
Yeah, so Molinari's just going to approach Misha and say, handing her some food, maybe even. Hey, Misha, um, what's got you awake so late? And like maybe without even knowing, can I roll sleight of hand to exchange the cards with the food so that I can just be shuffling the cards before she knows it?
Sure.
Okay, I think that hits 24.
Yeah, you easily will be able to shuffle the food into there without her noticing. And she is, and when she finally does notice, she is very impressed, and it brings a little bit of a smile to her face. And
Yeah, I like to think that if nothing else, if she didn't know already, it was like a sign that I'm one of you. I'm not just some weird adult coming into your space.
right, and honestly, if it's all right with you, I kind of figured that
I think
these kids are familiar with
I
you.
would be known. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I just again reiterate, Misha, what's got you awake tonight? And the whole time just shuffling the cards like she was, kind of mimicking that behavior.
She looks up at you and she goes, "I'm scared. No, I'm not supposed to say anything to somebody, especially when it's bad. But I was one of them that came up on one of them headless bodies. And it's scary. I don't like it."
Oh, Misha, yeah, it's something you never get used to.
And she looks you right in the eyes and she goes, "It was Danny. Danny DeRoff." And then you immediately your mind goes, "You mean DeRoff the handoff?" This kid was the best at the misdirection, if you could put it in his hands, he could put it somewhere else and nobody would ever figure out where he'd done the drop off right in front of your eyes.
So it was Danny? Is that Duroff?
Yeah. He's,
You found Danny's body?
yeah. It's still warm.
Oh, Misha, where
It
did
was,
you find Danny?
I found it down behind Anderson's pub. You know, we look in the back for scraps.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Blood still coming out of his body. But there wasn't much. It was the strangest thing. He had marks all over his body, like he'd been torn up.
By an animal?
Yeah. And if it wasn't for that same stupid shirt he always wore, I wouldn't known it's him. But he's Danny, of course. His head was gone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what the scariest part was. His body was tore up, sir. But his head looked like it'd been cut off clean.
Well, I hope for Danny's sake that means it happened first.
Me too.
I'm sorry you had to see that, Misha. Was anyone else with you?
No, it was just me. Job gone wrong.
And did you tell Mr. Anderson at the pub?
No, I told one of the bigger kids. You know, somebody who could probably get away with going and telling the watch. I figured they'd find me and try to put me with somebody in a home.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job, Misha. Is there anything else you can tell me? Did anybody bring the body back here or take it to be burned?
No.
Well, I'll see that his remains are taken care of, Misha. Thank you for letting me know.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, sir. And she's gonna go back to shuffling the cards.
Yeah, I think Molinari like does this real big shuffle, sets the cards down, and like stands up and walks away, and has left like 10 gold pieces on the cards. Just to make it clear that helping Molinari is a good idea.
She sees that and sits frozen, and as you begin to leave, you'll even like turn back to look at her, and her body is shaking with sobs. 10 gold pieces is enough to pay for her to find some way to not have to beg, borrow, and steal for a year. Yeah. But you're also kind of hoping that she's wise enough to be able to handle herself, because if some of the other kids figure out
and maybe spread the wealth early, so that nobody else does it for her.
So I will then, let's move on to Gierfsock.
Okay.
Gierfsock, you make it to one of the night watch stations, and as you you knock on the door, do you want to break in?
Oh, I'm not breaking in. Well, I mean, that would be a great way to introduce myself. Hey, I just let myself in.
We are criminals, right? I mean, you could probably do it without making much noise.
Okay, so what I want to do is, can I take a look at that lock? What's the quality of this lock?
It's a standard lock.
Okay.
I mean, who would honestly think that a watch station needs the greatest lock when it's got the watch inside of it?
Right. Yeah. But I think that they're going to be awake, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll let myself in.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything. Do we need to make any rolls for that, or is that just some power that you can?
So I mean, I have something here. So when I make a thieves' tools check involving locks, I get my intuition die. So yeah, I'll still have to roll.
Yeah, go ahead and make that then.
Which is 17.
Yeah, click nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing to you. Doors open.
Yeah, so I let myself in, and I very on purpose, cough, and we'll just announce my presence. So
There's a group of people, mostly humans, but there's also a dragonborn in this group, and they look up from a table where they've been playing a dice game. Hey, what are you doing, sir? Sir, that's not. And a woman stands up, an armored woman stands up wearing the town watch garb. She goes up. She goes, "Yes, sir. What can I do for you?"
Yeah, settle down. That's fine. Look, I'm giving you my resume right up front here. My name is Giefzog de Kundarak. I specialize in securities, and you might have been to my shop, where I tinker around, make stuff for people. Been doing that for many years now. Look, it's come to my attention, as I'm sure that you guys are aware, that some bad shit's going down, and people have been turning up dead. And look, I have some neat skills, and look, I don't want to turn up dead, and I want to help out. I've been a merchant around here, and some of these people are my friends. I'd like to help out. This is my resume. I'm giving it to you. Is there anything that someone of my caliber would be able to do to help you guys out? Just want to be useful.
Well, sir, I understand. Somebody, especially a Dekundarak as yourself, being willing to help, that speaks volumes of you as a person and your family, and we as part of the Night Watch greatly appreciate you. But I certainly would not want to put someone of your stature in the line of fire, especially since, well, I'm on my way out right now to do some just to patrol. I really do apologize. I wouldn't want something to happen to you and be considered responsible for the potential death of a Dekundarak. That would be very bad for me.
Yes, I can look after myself. And at that point, I put my hand out, and the manticore, metal manticore, nudges up against my hand.
Yes. Well, she says, "Would you care to walk and talk then?"
Sounds good to me.
Good. She says, "Hi, she says, excuse me, I'm Eve Martin."
All right. It's a pleasure to meet you, Eve. You wouldn't be... we met a Martin earlier, didn't we? Hang on. Her name's ringing a
Victor
bell
or
here.
something?
Victor. Yeah. You wouldn't be related to Victor, would you?
And she stiffens up a bit and she goes, "Yes, he's my father."
Okay. It's all right. I only really met him today. Just the name rung a bell. That's all.
Oh, well, good then. I prefer we not talk about him, if that's fine with you.
But I'm not here for that.
Wonderful. She opens the door for you to step out into the night. Shall we?
Sounds good.
Great.
Mike's like, great. I love it when rich people break into our place to offer help in the middle of the night. That's great.
So Eve Martin will walk patrolling with you. She grabs a hooded lantern that's hanging outside, and because obviously she doesn't have as much benefit from dark vision as you, thanks to being human, and will use that hooded lantern as going through the city. Through times she ends up patrolling in certain places. Through the conversations that you two are able to have, she begins to steer you in certain directions. Will you make an insight roll for me, please?
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I don't have anything for that. Yeah, okay. So what do we got? Insight. I'm sitting at a 14. Yeah.
Okay. You easily start to tell that the way that the conversation moves and the way that the patrol is working, the patrol seems to meander a bit, rather than like, let's go around in this circular formation. Like it's very meandering, and you realize that you've stopped for a couple of moments, and this location is one of the locations that was in one of the broadsheets as having one of the victims murdered here in the past 2 nights. She sees the recognition in your eyes, smiles, and goes, "Can I take a look around?"
Thank you. I'd love to.
I'm not going to turn down a Decondrack.
Excellent. So I have investigation, I'm guessing, to look around, or do you want a perception to get us started?
Well, you through the conversation, you have gotten a little bit more specific with the broadsheets. Same lines that the bodies look like they've been destroyed by animals. The heads look like they have been cut off cleanly. You also get some information through the night about how one of the bodies seemed wet as well. They couldn't necessarily put their hand on, put their finger on what exactly it was that had made them wet. It just seemed like water, but there's not been any precipitation for about the last week. So yeah, I mean, you have sort of an idea of what you're looking for, so that's an investigation. But if you're looking to see if there's just I guess just to case the area real quick, you can use perception. But if you're looking specifically for proof of what could have been from the water, what could have, maybe if you could find blood trail, but you know that should be there.
Sure. Well, he knows what he's looking for. I'm gonna roll. To investigate, and I've got a +8 to that, so I'm at a 21.
Okay. With your investigation, you can you can see scuff marks where there was fight, you can see that it's not just traffic in this way. It's not linear. The scratches into the cobblestone. It looks as though there were real chaotic motions around even further in toward an alley. And you're able to find some looks like dried blood spatters, not very large, but still faint enough that someone who, isn't being as observant as you, it'd be easily missed. And you find, looking around, you figure that there's a pile of, it looks like refuse, garbage that you believe that if somebody were to do some kind of like since you mentioned that the head was cut cleanly, that if somebody was going to do something with that and have to ditch it, that's a perfect place for it to have been ditched.
So, look, Givsog, he's not arrogant, but he's very confident. And you know, this guard has, you know, treated him quite well, considering he just broke into the guardhouse. And you know, she's showing him around. It's a bit of a, you know, he feels a little bit honored. And I think just who he is, I think he's talking out aloud. He's just sort of saying these things that you're saying out aloud. You know, he's not shouting it out or anything. He's just like, oh yes, and this is that, and you know, and it's kind of like it's kind of like, you know, those scenes in CSI and whatever else, and you know, it plays out, you know, where the guy died and there's that outline. But I'm doing that with my voice. Like, I'm like, oh, and if he was to be killed here, and then that pile over there would be the perfect place, and you can see over here the blood splatters that, you know, and so the direction of the blow must have been from this way. And I'm sort of just verbally doing what CSI and all those criminal shows do in visuals.
So when you look, Eve is paying a lot of attention to you. She's very interested in what you're saying, and realizing that your talent exceeds more than what she figured that she was bringing you along for. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're just a famous person right along at this point. And then you start talking about it, and you start breaking it down. And this is more intricately detailed than the people that they had working on this. And you mentioned about, she goes, somebody would have tossed something in this pile? She starts walking toward it while she's looking at you and talking about it.
I mean, that would be the perfect place if that's what they needed to do. It just depends if that's what they needed to do. But it would be the obvious place if.
She goes over to that refuse pile and starts kicking around, and with one of the kicks, this dirty object goes skidding across the cobblestones. She'll walk over to it and pick it up, wipe it off on her tunic, and it's a dagger.
Does it happen to be of a similar metal to the one that we found with the Darklings?
Not at all, but it's not the metal that catches your eye. It's on the pommel is a symbol, or the entire pommel is a symbol. The flattened part, it seems to curve down and stop, and then it carries up toward the blade with a circle and a drop toward the horizon.
Does Geofsog recognize that?
You can make an intelligence check. And let's say, yep, just an intelligence check, no proficiency.
15.
Okay. You know that this is a weapon from a group called the Dusk Guard.
Okay. Weapon of the Dusk Guard. Geofsog continues to, just talk out aloud. Oh, look, what have you found there? And just straight away, without even pausing. Oh, looks like a dagger of the Dusk Guard.
Excuse you? Excuse me? Oh, this is bad. We need to go back to the office right now. And she starts walking, and then she comes back to me and she goes, "Thank you so much. This has been incredible."
I give her my card. Clearly, I have one.
Absolutely. And you can either choose to go with her or let her hurry on back. But we'll move on to, with that, we're going to move on to Lastings.
I think you come to Lastings, and he is sitting here. He's got his shield on his back. Again, he's kind of wearing a more ceremonial outfit, but he is messing with something as you kind of come up from the backside of him. And finally, you see him pull his arm real hard, and a light starts to emit, and he puts down to his side. He's got this hooded lantern that he's going to walk through the town with. And it's with the top is open, kind of almost. It's something he got from the church. It's sort of their beacon of light type thing, and so it's to let everybody know who he is.
All right, and so you go through the town, making your way toward. Are you wanting to talk to the Riker family or the Riker family or the Dean family? Excuse me, the Schmidt family or the Dean family?
Have either one of them ever come to me for anything? It's like, and if they both have, which one more recently? Because that's who I'll go to first, or at all.
You can choose.
Yeah, let's just say that what's her name?
Heather Dean?
Heather Dean. Let's say Heather had more recently come to visit me, so I will go to her house or to her neighborhood first.
Okay. Large homes, mansions. These are not just rich people home. These are the elite. Heather Dean's family is a step below a named house. They are very wealthy and very well known.
Cool. Yeah, I think the first thing that I would probably do is there like a patrol hub or something like that just on the, like, in my head I'm thinking of Pinnacle.
Oh, okay. Not necessary. You know what? Yeah, right in the middle of the street.
Yeah, just sort of like on the outside of the actual neighborhood.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily gated.
Sure.
But there is a stone wall fencing.
Yeah, I think he would just kind of walk up to the gate and sort of turn his back to show the symbol of Onatar on the shield that he has, and just kind of wave himself through, assuming he doesn't get slowed down or stopped or anything like that.
As you walk up to it, one of the gentlemen who are seated there looks out, sees you. You watch him and go back. to just sitting there waiting. He's doing his job, but he recognizes you.
And he kind of looks down at the ground for a minute and then looks up, and you can see he's sort of trying to get his bearings. He turns to like one direction, and then he turns back the other way, and then he looks back at the little patrol house and just decides to turn right before whoever it was that was there could like give him any advice. He's just like, yeah, I better just go. And so he ducks and he heads towards Heather Dean's home. And I think what he would do is if he saw anybody out, he of course would, sort of wave at them, stuff like that. If there were animals or anything like that, like dogs or something like that, that were kind of running around, he would mess with them. But he would come up to a home that was not Heather Dean's. And I think he would make the trek across the lawn, up the driveway, the wagon way.
Yeah.
And would come to the door, pull the Bible out from his pocket, and knock on the door with the bottom of this hooded lantern.
So you've gone to the back door?
No. It would be a front door. I just assume they have a big yard if they're mansions.
You knock on the door, and after a bit of time, there's no answer.
Hey, this is Brother Lastings. I'm just walking through the neighborhood, making sure that everybody is doing okay. I just got a couple of questions. I'm just trying to make sure that the flock is safe. And he kind of knocks on the door again.
This time you hear a scuffle behind the door, and a man opens the door. He looks to be in his late 60s, frail with a mustache, a sleeping cap on his head that's hanging down on the right with a little fuzzy ball at the end of it, and wearing a nightgown. He goes, "Good evening, sir. What can I do for you?"
Yes, I'm actually just walking through the neighborhood and trying to make sure there have been some events that have occurred over the last couple of nights. And I thought it was my duty, in the name of our Lord, I was going to come and make sure that everybody felt safe, at least as much as they could, and offer my services in any way that I might be able to help. Is the Lord or Lady of the house up?
I would be surprised if they are not after you banged on their door, sir.
My apologies, of course, but for the good of all, I suppose.
Who, may I ask, is calling?
Brother Lastings.
I take it you work for... And he's looking for your holy symbol, but it's on your back.
He would hold up the Bible.
Oh. Yes, sir. I will go let the masters know that you are here.
It won't take long. I don't mean to be much more of a disturbance, I promise.
It would be best if you come back in the morning.
There may not be time.
Make a persuasion roll.
7.
He is not very persuaded. He goes, I will go tell them.
Perfect. I'll be here.
Cool. And he shuts the door. Make an insight roll.
I am better at that. That's a 24.
He is not going to tell them.
I think he would sort of straighten out his clothes, put the Bible back up, turn around with his back facing the door. sigh, shrug his shoulders, and then walk to the house, one house closer to where Heather Dean's home is, and kind of do the same thing. Knock on the door, say, "Hey, I'm here," and knock again. Only take a moment of your time.
You knock on Heather Dean's door again?
No, it's so the first one I knocked on wasn't Heather Dean's door.
Oh, okay.
And the second one that I'm going to is also not Heather Dean's door.
Okay.
And canvassing the neighborhood right now.
Yeah. I'm talking to the neighbors first.
High or low?
Let's go high.
You knock on the door, and you knock on the door, and no answer.
Can I tell if there are any candles lit inside the home?
Sure, if you want to peek through the windows.
Sure. Yeah. I'll. I'll drop the hood over the lantern and everything. I'm not
Peek
trying
through
to be
the windows?
deviant, but a little
No
sacred.
lights on. You assume you found a house where the family is vacationing away.
Well, I kicked the head off of a rose, and in anger and frustration, and just walked straight over to Heather Dean's house through yards and everything, not going back to the road. And with the light full blast, I'm going straight there.
Do you know when you'll go if you're decapitated tomorrow?
Do what?
Look in the chat. So, high or low?
Let's go high again.
All right.
Yeah,
you
so
knock on the door, and there's no answer.
I knock again and say, "Dean family, I am here to help. Open the door."
You are banging on the door very hard, and you see, again, door opens, and this time this is a woman in a maid's uniform. She looks to still be semi-dressed rather than being in sleeping clothes, holding a candelabra, opening the door. Yes? What do you need, sir? She looks and she goes, "Oh, Brother Lastings. I'm sorry. Huh. I didn't realize it was time for her body to be consecrated."
Yeah, it's I know it normally doesn't happen in the middle of the night, but I wanted to talk to the family a little bit before I got into it, so that's why I'm here.
For a few days still, but the master does need comforting. Yes, come in. Come in. I'm sure they'll be happy to see you once they get over being woken up in the middle of the night.
Of course. And he steps in, and he takes like the lantern and his tabard, and he kind of turns them sideways and just hands them to her, assuming she'll do something with it, and goes and sits down, waiting for them to. I assume they don't want him up in their room, so he's going to wait.
She brings you to a seating room, and then goes to get the family. 10, 15 minutes later, the family finally comes down, and it's the mother and the father.
So you say 10 or 15 minutes later, can I cast a spell?
Yeah.
All right. I would like to cast Augury. A second level spell. I'm going to do it as a ritual because it'll only take me 10 minutes to do.
Okay.
And by casting blah, 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 points of the divination tool, I receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take in the next 30 minutes. And then the GM tells me of 3 possible results. Wheel, woe, wheel and woe, or nothing.
Okay.
Are you familiar with wheel and woe?
Good and bad.
Wheel is good, woe is bad.
Okay.
So yeah, the plan of action is I am going to find out, see if I can get to the bottom of why someone would be after or attempt to kill. If they're like, I'm going to try and get the motive.
You're going to try to figure out what motive somebody might have.
Yeah, just a motive.
Okay. And all I have to do is tell you wheel or woe.
Right.
Wheel.
Or nothing. Or both.
Wheel.
Okay. All right. So yeah, when they get down, then I think he would. Unless we need to move on right now.
Nope.
Yeah.
What would be your fulfillment?
Hey, I am so sorry. But of course, there are some procedures that we have to go through. And one of the things that I'm doing tonight to fulfill my role with the church is to come and talk to the family a little bit. How are you guys doing?
And the husband just says, well, we're tired. And, well, it's odd that you would come this late, but we do appreciate you coming, Brother Lastings.
It's an odd hour. I agree, but it was something that we felt we needed to get ahead on because I'm actually here for a couple of reasons.
When you say ahead on, the wife goes.
So, who in relation to Heather are these people?
Her parents.
Okay. I'm sorry, but it is true. We need to move forward here. But I am here for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, most importantly, of course, I just am here. I want to make sure that you guys are doing as best as you can be. Obviously, this is a terrible time, but I want you to know that you have friends. People are here for you. That being said, of course, my condolences. The other reason I'm here is because I've also been asked to look into this a little bit. I'm curious if you know whether or not Heather might have been involved in something. You know, why would something like this happen to her? It's so unthinkable.
And the parents begin to open up to you, giving you some information that is a bit surprising, that for being a pillar in this community, a very positive side of the coin that was Lord Victor. He explains that his daughter has been sneaking out at night, and they know this, and they didn't want her to stop it because very soon she would be getting married, and they knew that she was sneaking off to see another boy. From the way that things were happening in the time that the body was found, it was assumed that she was on her way home when they found her. They have already gone and confronted the boy, who was just as distraught to have found out about it and that it had happened. When they got more information, they explained to you that their daughter was found, and it looked like her body had been torn up, but that her head had been removed cleanly, very low on the neck.
Of course, I'm very sorry to hear. I don't mean to make you relive those moments. Did it seem like when you spoke with the young suitor, it sounded like she was betrothed to be married to somebody else? Is that correct?
Yes.
And who was she gained to be married?
Well, Well, you see, and he seems, as he keeps trying to talk to you, he seems very reticent to mention anything. Not very uh, that he would prefer not to speak about it. You get that feeling.
Listen, I know that this is hard, and it's hard to open up about these things, but I promise that the best intentions are behind my questions. I'm with the church. You guys know where to find me when you need me. I'm here when you need me. Right now, I need you guys. We need your help. Anything. What? Anything.
Persuasion roll.
That's a little better. That's 14.
With the 14, you're able to, the mother sighs. It's not something that we're proud of, but we have been struggling with money very, very much. And our daughter had agreed to marry into the Avalos family from Thrain. The dowry would have been enough to keep us afloat, and it would have saved the family.
Have any emissaries of Thrain come recently?
No, no. In fact, we have been going to them.
Who do you think perpetrated this horrendous act?
I have no idea.
Insight. That's a 27.
Not only does she have no idea, but you can tell from her, from just the conversation with her and putting everything together, that she has no idea why anybody would do this and how anybody could pick their daughter to be a target for this. Like, this is, she is completely beside herself with this.
I then said, "Sir, do you have any idea, any thoughts on who it could have been?"
I do not. It's a surprise to both of us.
I'd probably also insight him, unless
Okay.
that previous one covered both. That's a 28. It's as good as I can do.
Yeah, same thing. They are both beside themselves with this problem.
So I would turn to the maid, and I would say, "Excuse me, ma'am. If she was getting in and out, you probably were one of the people who were aware of this. Any ideas?"
No, sir. I I made sure to stay up until she returned. Her body having been found yesterday, I've not slept since.
So of course I'm going to incite her. That's a 17.
She is not lying to you.
Well, who else knows about this this secret rendezvous that was going on? Was it just his family, just him?
I am not aware, and the father says, I am not aware that the boy's parents knew.
All right.
The only
Well,
reason that we knew is because our daughter told us.
let's see. You think it's possible that she also somehow communicated this to her husband-to-be?
I do not. In fact, the marriage was her idea.
Very well.
The
Well,
maid is starting to nod off in where she's sitting,
yeah.
struggling to stay awake.
I think he would stand up and he would shake their hands and say, "Of course, please come see us at the church whenever you need us. We'll always have the doors open for you. Thank you so much. And he would stand up, gather his things, and step outside the door and probably head back to the church.
Okay. And the next day, you are all able to meet up and regroup and share the information that you have. Can we assume that you share everything, or is there anything that you'd like to withhold?
I withhold nothing, except for the 2 failures prior. I don't tell them that I knocked on anybody else's door.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give details about the person I received information from or anything like that, but
Okay.
I'd tell them I went to talk to some people and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably do something similar. I'd probably say I met with a guard captain. We walked around town, tell him what we found out, specifically about this weapon of the dust guard that was hiding in the pile of refuse, and that the guard seemed to be especially perturbed by that and hurried off back to report that particular detail. But I would also say that whoever they hired wasn't as good as I was, which could mean that they're not hiring the best people, or maybe that they just don't have.
I think you should just be bragging about it.
Right.
He's totally humble bragging. I don't.
So anyways, you're probably
really
gonna fire
hiring
that
the
guy.
best people, but
But I found stuff that they did. Yeah.
I totally put him to shame. No big deal.
Yeah. That's it. She was very impressed.
So it sounds like you guys, after the conversation, you guys are able to kind of figure out what's going on. And from everybody you've talked to, then basically, so that we're on the same page, we know that people are saying that if they were found at night. People are saying that the bodies look tore up, except the heads have been cut off very cleanly, even to the point that Brother Lastings goes as far as to say they said that the head was cut off very low on the neck. And in the broadsheets, you hear about 2 more murders in the night. A body that is yet to be, 2 bodies that are yet to be identified, and both are from the Upper District. One of them actually seems to have been close to where you were patrolling, in fact. Gierfsock.
You said they're at the morgue, the 2 bodies.
Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to go check on the bodies, you could. If you wanted to make a plan for something, you could. You do remember that Brother Lasting said he's down for making himself be bait.
Yeah. One thing I would say is, would we be able to just know who those people are without going there? Do we? I mean, I feel like through our context,
by the issuing of the broad papers.
Oh, okay.
I think Big J would definitely want to go to the scenes of the crime, knowing that,
they've already missed stuff.
Yeah, they've already missed stuff. So
should we just, like, as a group, patrol through each spot that there's been a murder? Is that what you're saying?
I reckon maybe we just go to the guard and just say, hey, look, we're just going to be doing this so that at least someone knows about it or something. Although, I mean, I met with them last night, so I don't think that's an issue. I think Gierfsock would just be like, no, you have to go now. The fresher the crime scene, the better.
And you could probably give anybody on the force a wink and the nod, like, right. You know what happened last night. Like, You've heard the story already.
Yeah.
I found that thing.
Yeah, he would want it as fresh as possible.
I mean, I'm cool with that. Caleb, how are you feeling about?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Cool. So then you guys are going you're able to stop by one of the guard locations, and even Sinbul sees you, nods, smiles at you, goes back to work, watches for you guys, and they tell you that the nearest one is behind one of the more rich markets, the outdoor promenade style markets that are in the uptown. It was in one of the body was found in an alley behind the markets, and in fact that one's pretty close to you. And even once you get to the markets, Gersok, you actually see you hear a voice going, "Oh, Lord Tikandarak!" And Eve comes running up to you with she's got a sack full of vegetables. She's gathering food from the market and explains that she's been off work for hours, already gone home. She's not one to go to sleep. After work, she likes to sleep and then wake up and go straight to work. Explaining, excited to see you.
Yeah,
And
I would introduce her to my two friends here, and by name and profession.
Yeah, and she's Eve Martin, shaking your guys' hands.
And so they're people they're men of great esteem, and they've been helping me out with some things around town. And obviously introduce her and would sort of say, look, we've heard that there's been some more things going down. We were just coming out to have a look around and see if we can find something at a fresher scene.
Huh. Well, I've heard of it. No, I was already off when I heard of it, but I'd be happy to go with you. At least make it more official, right? Nobody be bothering you.
I mean, that'd be cool. Did you need to drop off the...
telepathically, I want to tell Big G that if we find any more weapons, we need to keep it between us. She's going with us.
I can keep her distracted. I can talk her ear off. You sort of say, did you need to quickly drop those off before we get there? Is your home nearby? Obviously, we don't need to know where it is.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
Is your home nearby?
You're a creepy Uber driver.
All right, so I say for sure, come with. That'd be great.
And she will actually start leading you guys on. She's like, "Great, let's go," and starts leading you onto the location. When you get there, they've not cleaned it yet. It's an alley. It's a messy alley, so they're not necessarily in a hurry because it doesn't get a lot of traffic. It's used mostly for trash. People will dump their refuse out. You can see a sewage grate further on down near the back of the alley. The body isn't there, but it's super messy, and it's easy to see signs of blood and a scuffle.
Okay, signs of blood and scuffle. Yeah. All right. I would immediately get to work, and I just as I said, I would be straight away. Just as I was last night, talking it out. I would be pointing things out, and I would be pointing things out in the opposite direction to what my friends are looking at. So I mean, and over here, I'm not specifically directing her away from the scene, but they're looking at the opposite things to I am, so that they can pick some things up if they need to.
Okay. So you guys are searching for stuff. You can make a perception or investigation roll while Gersok is causing a distraction.
Tell me a little bit about the alleyway.
The alleyway is no more than 8 feet wide. There's clutter lining the walls specifically of it. There's that sewage grate back near the back side of the alley. And it is a mess, and the mess is more indicative of the struggle.
Is it like stone road? or is it just dirt?
The alley is a lot less stone. It looks like it may be more gravel and rock rather than cobblestone.
Okay. What do you want to look at, Mike?
I was just surveying the scene kind of broadly, like Matt was saying, kind of back to back with him, almost like looking at the opposite side.
Okay. You're just looking around in general.
Yeah, I mean, just wanting to find something that should be investigated, like that maybe was missed or something.
Okay. From the information that you were given from Gersok, you remember him pointing out that it seemed like a dagger had been thrown away into a pile of refuse, but you actually catch something a little different than that. It seems as though the wall that you see chipping within the walls. It looks like there are places where stone has recently the stone has recently been chipped along the walls, or that wood has been split.
Does it specifically look like weapon marks, or is it like
It certainly looks like
animal
something
scratch? Sorry, what?
it definitely looks like something has hit it. But right now you are just picking up that something has recently been hitting or has
Okay,
hit it.
I'm
If you'd like to know more, you can do an investigation check to get a closer look. These are just things that you have picked up on.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna point it out to them telepathically as I investigate it further. If
So he said it telepathically. So I'm just going to say, oh, and over here you can clearly see.
yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, I love that. I like that even better. I think I will leave it to him to deal with, but I will tell him about it telepathically so he can continue this boast that he's like the greatest detective of all time.
Yeah, certainly. Looking at that with your investigation there, then Gersok, it totally looks as with the chippings that something has hit them, and but you can't find what it is. You're like, yeah, it looks like maybe metal on stone or stone on stone. But then when you get to wood, you get a really good sense of what it is. That something had, with a lot of force, hit that wood and was stuck in it and then had been removed. You could assume that it was some sort of pointed bladed weapon or object. You could say that it's not like an axe got caught in it or a sword got stuck in a tree. It's more like somebody went after it with the point of a dagger or the point of an arrow.
All right. Yeah. Again, just speaking it out exactly as I see it. And you'll see here, the impact of a pointed bladed weapon, probably some sort of dagger or something like that, maybe an arrow, but that seems a little bit more unlikely with this pattern of impacts. Blah blah.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen someone decapitated with an arrow.
Right.
And with that investigation as well over there, Brother Lastings, you like at the grate, you go over and look at it, and you see that there is something that this grate for safety. There is a second grate further down, and by going over to investigate, there is something that is stuck in the second grate, and easily identifiable as it looks like it's a little bit bigger than a vial, but it's not as wide as a flask. It looks more like a tincture bottle.
Yeah, I think I'll lift the first safety grate off if I can.
The first safety grate is just to stop bigger items, so you could, you could reach your arm through.
Okay. Yeah, not suspecting any evil. He reaches down. Can I reach the?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Then I would grab it and I would pull it out, and probably like mid-turn as he's sort of sweeping and guiding these would-be detectives. Lastings will toss the tincture over to Big G.
Big G, as soon as you catch it and look at it, you see that mark of the dust guard on this tincture bottle.
All right.
And he looks at you and says, "What's that?"
So,
While this is going on, I am going to cast Detect Poison and Disease.
ooh.
Okay. That bottle comes up clean, 100% clean.
So it also tells me if there are any poisonous creatures or diseases within 30 feet of me.
There's people walk by that come within your range that come up as blips as having the flu or the clap or
Sure. But nothing in the alleyway.
Disease as in rot around you. Yeah.
Cool. Nothing out of the ordinary. Cool.
Right.
So, in answer to a question, thumb to my friend here, and it seemed, and I'm like, oh well, Brother Lasting seems to have found this flask in the sewer grate here. It looks like it's just coming up against the second grate, and it's looks like a tincture bottle of some description. But this mark here, you can clearly see that that's of the dust guard. We found the dagger from last night that was also theirs. This seems to be a bit of a pattern going on. What was when you reported that? What was the reaction that you got back at home base?
That if the dust guard is here, we may have more to worry about than normal.
Well, I don't think we need to say if anymore.
Well, and she looks at you and she says, the dust guard, from what is at least believed in most circles, is, as you know, that they work for vampires.
All right.
And that, well, if they work for vampires, it's safe to say that many believe that they are based out of a tour. And you guys, for all of your knowledge, you all know that it's about a week's journey on the road. About half that, if you take a lightning rail, it's the next big city north.
Yeah, definitely heard that as well. Have you had issues here with them before? Or anything in the city guard records, town records?
No.
And have any of these bodies been found, drained of blood or anything like that?
Well, all of them, their heads have been cut off.
Well, their heads are being cut off, but you don't lose all yeah, there's a little bit of blood, but it soon dries.
I wouldn't know then. You'll have to talk to the morgue.
Okay, probably do that. So you say that these Dust Guard work for vampires. Would there be someone in town that knows a little bit more about them, about how the organization is organized and
I couldn't tell you, sir.
do you know anyone from Mater? Well, we probably might know from someone from Mater. Do we have any contacts in Mater?
I think Molinari is like, you can recognize their dagger from a mile away, but you know nothing of the organization.
I mean, I know,
Is this?
Well,
I know the symbol, and I know.
would you want to spend your time around people who work with vampires?
No.
Nor would I. I don't care to know anything more about them, just to be able to recognize them and stay away.
Fair enough.
Well, this is the second thing that we found of theirs, so it could be one of two things, as far as I'm concerned. It could be someone trying to pin this on them, or it could be someone that's part of them. This seems to be pretty well hidden, though. Doesn't seem to be something like, unless they're specifically very intelligent and hiding these on purpose. Would I be able to get a sense of whether it would be one of those two things? Like, I don't know if there's a way to know that, if it looks like they've been hidden specifically on purpose, or if they've just been, hidden by someone who's of the organization or not. I don't know how I would figure that out, but
with the only point of reference that you have is the dagger, since you pulled that from where it was. It did seem to be buried in the trash.
I think we've all probably stashed something in our day. We're all like lifelong criminal organization members.
right.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
But the same way, it could have just as easily been thrown and buried into it, rather than put and then covered.
And we have a map of the city, do we?
Oh, easily. I mean, you're all been around here for a while, and you've got Molinari.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
found this map, and it smells like cheese. But it's a good map, hand drawn.
And it smells like cheese, but it's good.
I would take out a copy of the map, and I would circle or X mark the locations where these bodies have been found, and I would see if there's any commonality, or like if they make a nice pretty symbol on the paper or anything like that.
It doesn't. It looks
kind of random.
It's random, yeah. Maybe if you find more, if more people get killed, you'll be able to find a pattern from that. But as it stands right now, nice. Thank you, Caleb. You get 2 levels of experience for being able to make a Full Metal Alchemist reference for me. No, but no. Sorry, not really.
I'll just take myself up to level 6.
If you
dust guard like super secret, like I feel like the hand would know. At least the creepy monster that lives inside the sheriff would know something about the dust guard.
If you think that you would like to go ahead and confront the sheriff and tell Lamia that you need to talk to her, be my guest.
I don't know whether we have enough just yet, but
we could go look at the bodies.
Yeah. I think that's probably like going to the morgue is probably the obvious next step, right? Like,
unless you want to find more common items with dust guard symbols on it.
I think before we take off to the morgue, I think Lastings would probably ask, is there an officer that looks like he's actually, or she is actually in charge of the scene?
Not here right now.
then I would go up to Eve and say, who was it that found and identified the body?
I don't know. You'll have to go get that report from downtown.
What about the other bodies? Have you guys looked into who has been finding and identifying these bodies? Because if they've all had their head taken off, sort of at the base of the shoulder, how can you really be sure it's who you think it is?
We have had, for instance, Miss Dean was found with a family signet ring. That makes it quite.
He takes one of his rings off and hands it to him or to her and says, "Put it on."
She puts it on.
Well, now you have mine. Does that make you us?
Well, no, but her family knows her. They're more familiar with her birthmarks or deformities, or maybe nails having been done recently to know what to look for to be able to recognize her. We would not want to lie to a family.
Oh, of course not. And he kind of holds his hand out, expecting the ring.
And she takes it off and hands it to you.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the cool rings. It was just a flamboyance. It probably had like a dollar sign on it.
She couldn't get telepathically communicated to while she had it on. So.
I would never think that you don't know how to do your job. Of course, I trust the word of Big G over here, Gearzog. I'm just curious, just following up on stuff. Thank you.
I appreciate your diligence, sir. And she looks over at Gearzog. Do you think you'll be coming around again tonight? You wish to join the patrol again?
I think that'd be a good idea. Yeah. We'll be visiting the morgue in the meantime to see if we can get a few more details as to how what sort of condition these bodies were found in, if they've lost more blood than seems to be normal, given that we have this lead that there might be someone working for vampires involved. Maybe there is a vampire involved. It's always happening at night, so that doesn't seem to be a complete coincidence. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we've got all the details that we need. But yeah, I think that would be a good idea. So how many patrols do happen at night? Is it just the one that happens? Is it one per area, like the Noble District, the Lower District?
So it's one per station. And they have some stations that are small single-person stations that, like Brother Lasting's past, where somebody's job is to sit there and keep watch for traffic coming by. People trade out for doing shifts. Then there's people, there are more like posts where people will go and canvass a section of the city, a fistful of blocks.
Right.
So it's not. Go ahead.
I ask her if there's like a central place where all of the reports from the last couple of nights from all of these stations would be held, or whether we'd need to actually go to those stations and find their records ourselves.
For something this large, you can find all the written record of it downtown.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's what I'm tipping to do.
The other two of you going with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will get him there faster than he would have.
So let me just real quick ask, is downtown the same place as the morgue?
Yes. So downtown is the central hub where you'll end up having your office workers, your desk jobs, your large face of the town watch it's the largest precinct overarching where all of the main work comes through, but people get sent out to each of the posts for shifts.
Right. Do we want to like split up again so that we can divide the workforce to someone go down to the morgue, someone question the, like, go through these records, so on and so forth?
I think we can just knock it out together.
All right.
Do it.
Cool. So, what when you get down there, at this point, there's about 6 bodies total down in the morgue, 2 of which are Heather Dean and the Schmidt boy, and the others seem to all be recent as well. Nobody from more than like 3 nights ago. And you've got some options. You can, if you'd like to, you can do an investigation check on the bodies or a medicine check on the bodies. You can make a persuasion roll to get information. You can make a intimidation roll to get information. How'd you like to go about it?
I'd probably go with a. I would probably look over the bodies using a medicine check. First, verifying cause of death being decapitation, and then seeing what maybe the results from the decapitation, what that leads me to.
Okay. Go ahead and make a medicine check.
12 on the dice. That is an 18.
Cool. With an 18, you are looking around. You are finding that definitely all of these bodies have been decapitated. In fact, with what you were able to talk with, the information you got from the Dean family about head being cut off lower on the neck, they've all been cut off lower at the neck, almost down to the shoulders, in fact. The body, but you're able to tell that that is not what killed them. It seems more that the mauling of the body has been what has killed these bodies. And as you start looking at the other bodies and able to check each one of them, you're confirming your thoughts. However, with that 18 on that medicine check, you do also notice that with the way that everything's torn up and the way that the blood looks to have left the body, it didn't necessarily seem to leave the body through the giant gaping hole at the top of the neck. It seems to have left the body very quickly through those just maul markings. But you do notice in one of the bodies that very close to where the head was, or the neck was cut, the blood seems to have traveled in a pinprick flow toward a space that would have been above where it was cut. Unfortunately, that part of the neck isn't there for you to check.
The only other thing I can think is, are these all children?
No.
Okay. Cool. Then yeah, I would just through the normal course, almost sort of looking over his shoulder and like getting into a mode. He's like, he does exactly what Girfsock has been doing, except the procedural aspect of
You're the coroner now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying, if you look right here, you can see, that the blood escaped the body through a lot of the cuts.
Well, this would have taken you quite some time, so they will be doing something else while you're looking over those bodies.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So then, Girfsock.
Right. Well, he's looking at this from a medical point of view. I think, like, Girfsock only really knows in investigation well, not only, but that's his main thing. So I don't know. Is there different information from an investigation check from like to a medical check?
Are you wanting to investigate the bodies? Or what are you wanting to investigate?
You know what I want to investigate? I think he's got the bodies covered. I want to look over these reports. I want to see what hand they were written in. I want to see, like, you know, if there's, you know, like, yeah, each of these reports, I want to see the similarities. I want to see how close these people were to where these bodies were found. And I guess I want to also follow up to see who was, like, to follow up Caleb's question earlier, to see who was the one to report these bodies in and who keeps these records. So it's all about the records.
Okay, cool.
As far
Then let's do an investigation check as research, because you've got time on this and it's all written down. You can give yourself advantage.
Oh. 24.
Got it. So with your 24, you are seeing many different hands and many different signings and many different posts that these people have been turned into. It's as if these have been happening all over the city. The 6 that you see around you are more than just the 3 so far that you're, or 4 so far that you're aware of that happened in the upper district. There's other bodies that from other people from other parts of town. And so people have turned into this guard post in the southeast corner, and this one over here by this market, and this one in the downtown district, and this one, like, it's from all over. It's from different penmanships, different hands. You recognize that from the upper city, one of them looks to be a guard's own report of having found a body. One seems to be that from the lower town, an anonymous person left a note was left, and that they followed up on it and found the body. They're like, it is all across the board. The records seem they don't. The records paint a picture of this is much larger, a much larger issue than what you initially thought. And even with that, Lord Victor Martin very well was right. And it almost seems a little odd that it had been not acted upon, maybe even ignored.
So when you say that he was right, that he was basically saying this has gotten out of control, you know, and that sort of thing. He was just, you know, the killing is getting out of hand. So, you know, all of this stuff has happened. It's time for action. All of this is happening to the nobles as well as everyone else. It's time for the killer to be dealt with. That's really all that he was saying. So we're just confirming that, yes, it is way out of hand, right? Like there's nothing else there that I missed.
Absolutely. That is, it is being confirmed. It even lends to Lord Martin's recent altruistic personality. That maybe him leaving wasn't him just wanting to get out. That maybe he had stopped just caring about the aristocracy. You can assume that he started to care about Vedekar.
And, you know, as far as who's been identifying these bodies / making the morgue reports, is that in the same hand or the same people?
All of these bodies, they have had family be able to come in and identify them,
Okay.
or like things like signet rings or pieces of jewelry, or they've had seamstresses come in and point out, yes, I made this specifically for this person and for her body. There's no way that another person would have been able to have worn this so well. They, as you go through, it just seems not necessarily wild, but highly convenient. But they were all able to be identified in all manner of ways. And you
So it doesn't seem like a coincidence.
you're easily able to assume, like, through all the chaos and muck that this has become, it's been very nice that this has been able to at least been wrapped up so cleanly.
So, okay, I'll ask you a question, and then we'll move on to the next person because I don't want to take up too much time. But the last thing that I want to ask is of you. If does it seem like to Gearsock that someone has gone out of their way to only kill people who could be identified in this manner?
That idea does cross Gearsock's mind, but for the sheer number of people, for that to have been able to happen to, the chaos that your map is showing doesn't necessarily line up with the amount of planning that it would take to kill people like that. Those are two completely different mindsets that it would take to kill these people. If somebody was going to plan that everybody could be found like that, then where they were killed should have been something that person was planning as well.
All right, well, that's good information. We'll move on to...
All right, Molinari.
I guess really briefly, is there a way I can check if Molinari recognizes anyone else that has been killed besides the people he already knows of? If there's anyone else significant, like in the same way that Dean was significant to the town?
Oh, many people. You don't have to check for that. You know that there are that so far that there was the two that were originally named. There's the two that haven't been identified yet, but then again, they were both killed last night. So there's not been a family or an expert brought in to be able to identify them. But to you, people who are important to the community, absolutely, there are more people who are important that you see the broader picture than the people who have spent all their time as an aristocrat.
So you were saying that thing about the looking like the blood was being siphoned or whatever?
Yes, but at this point right now, the only one who knows that is Brother Lastings.
Because like just the little bit that Molinari knows of the Dusk Guard, like I think it's kind of wheels are turning in Molinari's head of like, is Dusk Guard moving in to our village, to our town, or are vampires moving in and they are just part of that package?
It's a good thought.
And because like Molinari's very like ride or die Vitakar.
Yeah.
Like he's also in that same boat. Like he's gonna protect the city if it means dying for it. Like whatever. So I mean, I don't know that he has much of a place in the morgue. He'd probably check and make sure that what's his name? Duroff was dealt with the way that he had sent someone instructions to do. The handoff guy.
Yep.
Danny Duroff. But beyond that, I think he is just kind of like taken back by the situation. Like seeing the scale of it, I don't know that Molinari is ready to do anything in this moment besides just like soak it in and brood. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you guys get the nods from each other. You've looked around, you've done your research, you've brooded, you're ready to go and talk about it and to make your plans for tonight.
So Lastings has this great idea for tonight. He's back on the board of thinking he should be bait.
Okay.
And he's thinking that he's going to find a couple of these have happened outside of the market. So he's going to find an alley that's maybe just off to the side. But he's like, he could just sit there and kind of walk to the middle of the alley and act like he was using the bathroom or something like that, just forever. And he shows a little trick. He kind of turns around and he faces a sewage grate that's on the ground, and it looks like he's just standing there urinating into the thing, but he is casting create water. So he has 30 gallons of this. Like, he just sits here and just looks at him while it just keeps going. And he's like, I could do this forever. And he's like, this is a pretty good trick though, right? Like, you could sneak up on me pretty easy, right? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I would look like a pretty easy target, right? Like, I'm not paying attention, and like the whole time, the stream is just saying solid.
Oh god.
Like, I could stand here forever. People will walk by and not even think twice about me, but I could stand here forever. And he turns around, and as he does, just the remaining gallonage dumps into the sewer. And he's like, I'm not even wet. What are your guys' ideas? I've got everybody shook.
We're all just like,
I'm trying not to guide this part. I was like, God damn it! If he's gonna go that direction, what are the other two gonna do?
So, like, this reminds Kiyosuk, and I had this in mind anyway. Like, he's just peed out, right? So I'm just like, oh, there was that, like, strange water, like, was it lack of water or whatever in that first one that we went to see?
One of them was wet.
The wet, yeah. So that reminds me of the wet, and I'm just like, I don't know, does that mean anything? It's just like...
So one of the things that I think he would have shared from his trip into the residential area was that he felt like he was supposed to walk out of there with something to be able to hold on to, like a possible motive or something like that. And so he kind of goes back over the information, thinking that because he had cast a spell and the result was you're supposed to have good results, and my goal was to find a motive. He thinks that the motive for at least one of these murders for Heather Dean might be something worth following up, which the only thing he knows of is the boy would be the only lead. So possibly talking to another person who knew a victim, but he's not real sure. He's always got plan B is the create water. Unless
I thought that was plan A. Honestly.
Well, I don't think fishing with a character is going to always catch fish. So I'm down to actually do something more productive if you guys come up with anything.
I mean, there's the classic go wait for a drunk person to leave a bar and follow them until they pee in an alley for 30 gallons worth. But, I mean...
So, Is there a civil engineer somewhere in town?
You've got a bunch of tinkers and smiths. Not necessarily somebody whose title is civil engineer, but you have people who you could say are part of the city planning committee.
Sure, I wanna go to whoever's someone in city planning, and I want to talk about rooftops with them.
All right. What are you looking for about rooftops? They will let you in as soon as you flash the Dekundrak name.
Yeah, so I want to know how stable rooftops are. If people would just fall through them, can they be walked upon? Are there railings? Anything about them? Because we haven't seen any sign of passage. We haven't seen footsteps. We haven't seen shit. And I want to see if maybe the rooftops could have been used.
The real easy answer you get is, yeah, of course. I said most of the houses, especially in the upper district, they will all be fine. It's easy to walk up there. In fact, the way that they're built is to allow some passage up there. The downtown or in lower town, not necessarily all the buildings, because hey, they can't really all afford to have bigger buildings that need a larger roof. You get a lot of pointed roofs. The further away you get into the worst parts of towns, it's still like thatch and mud and not even cobblestone streets.
Right. What about sewers? And I point out the map that I've made.
You're aware of the sewers. You spent some time in the sewers already.
Yeah. But I sort of say, would there be entrances near each of these locations? And I would show them, and I'd say, within a block, would there be sewer entrances to each of these locations?
Of course. That's how that's you wouldn't need to talk to a civil engineer about that. Everybody, that you can just, somebody has to have a way to empty chamber pots. Somebody has to have a way to make stuff disappear quickly, to pour stuff out in them. So there's drainage everywhere.
So after this short foray with these people, I thank them for their time. I come back to the group and I say, as far as I'm concerned, Big G talking, I think we need to check out the rooftops and check out the sewers near these locations. One of those must have been used as a vehicle to facilitate these murders.
Lasting sort of elbows a commoner that's nearby. He says, hey, has there been any weird sightings or anything like that, like strange animals or birds kind of being in the area that normally aren't, like bats or anything like that?
The guy looks at you and says, no, why?
Just curious. It's been weird weather. I didn't know if maybe that had changed the migration. I gotta go.
I really gotta go.
Catherine
in the sewer.
Just lock sides with the guy.
I told him this would work.
At the end of the day,
hey man, you see anything weird around here?
At the end of the day, he reports back to his, clerics, and they're like, "Oh, how did you use your 3rd level spell slots today?" "I just peed water all day, all freaking day." That's all I did.
Oh, I'm glad we had that moment.
All right. Well, I think we should kill 2 birds with 1 stone and keep an eye on Brother Lastings while he does his little magic trick from the rooftops. We'll have a good view.
Oh, you guys are going to go up to the rooftops? 2 of you are, while Lastings goes and sets himself up in an alleyway?
I think it's a great idea. As long as there's a quick way down. We'll find a roof with a quick-ish way down.
So, where y'all are looking to try to be, it's at least 2 stories everywhere.
Brother Lastings can hold his own for a while.
How many flights of stairs is that?
And I'm a tinker. Can I make a ladder?
Right, I need to get down right now. Hold on. Let me make a ladder.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's what you guys are going to do tonight?
I was thinking
Oh.
during the day. I don't know about tonight. Jeez, walking across the rooftops at night doesn't seem like a very good plan.
What better time? I can set up an area of alarm around Brother Lasting, so we'll have time to get down to him if someone approaches. It'll be perfect.
All right, I'm good with that. That sounds great.
We can yell for help if we find.
Plus, if we've got like a height advantage, maybe we can scout a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
While we're up there.
I've been on most of these roofs. It's not much to see, but
surely someone mauling these bodies and cutting their heads off is gonna cause a little bit of noise. I'm wondering if maybe there's also something I can do with the alarm spell, but it's like I feel like it's too restrictive in that if I chuck down an alarm spell somewhere, I have to specifically say who's not going to trigger it. And there's so many people walking around, and that maybe could I find a place that would be suitable for that?
I mean, that was my plan.
During the day or at night?
At night, we just find a place that's a little off the beaten trail. 20 feet
maybe
worth of area
that
behind the more likely that you'll find a spot.
Right. So I guess so. How far through the day are we right now?
You could say you're midday.
All right. So I think Givsog would spend some time looking around the rooftops of these locations, or at least one of these locations, maybe the most recent one. He would look around the rooftops during the day because he doesn't want to go up there at night. And that's how he would probably spend the next couple of hours. And then tonight, then maybe do some of these other plans. So.
Cool. Go ahead and make an investigation roll then.
16 on the die for 24.
You're not able to find any sign of somebody up there. But then again, you know that going up there to try to find something, maybe your best hope was that something got caught on something, because finding
blood splatters, from the crime. Yeah. So there's nothing.
Nope.
All right. So after spending a couple of hours searching the rooftops, finding really nothing, again, we'll come back to the party. Whoever didn't come with me, maybe one of the others would poke around the sewer grates while I was up there. Would that be all right? I don't know.
Sure.
Just in the locations near these strikes, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will investigate right now. 10.
With 10, you looking around, looking through the grates, and nothing jumps out as you as being helpful. Out to you, excuse me.
Brother Lastings, how are you spending these couple of hours?
You should use that that ritual again.
See if
prepare
it's
for this,
or woe.
for being bait.
Yeah, it only tells me the next 30 minutes. No, I think he might go back to the church and just kind of tell him that he won't be around for evening service tonight. He's gonna go out into the streets. And he says it very loud and echoey through the halls, so that anybody else who might be in here would also be aware that that's where he's going to be. But other than that, I think he would probably go down to a bar that's maybe close to the general vicinity of where they're planning on being bait, and he's making sure that he's seen there early in the day. Kind of goes in and maybe has a beer or something like that, and then we get up and say, well, I'll see you guys later tonight, and he flicks a gold coin, casts light on it to sort of be a show-offy spectacle type thing. But he's trying to make his location aware.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds good.
So then how do you guys set up for tonight? Like, how do you pick a spot?
Well, we know it's not the others have not happened right out in the open. They've been in alleyways and things like that. So we would try and find an alleyway, something that matches the type of place that we've seen prior, somewhere where we can obviously get access to the rooftop so that we can, look down from above and sort of see maybe both entrances of the alleyway if there's two or something like that. And obviously close to where he announced his presence.
Cool. So you guys announcing your presence, letting it be known. You've allowed it to get dark and be late. In fact, it's been dark for a while. You're coming up on an alley that you think that is going to be the best place for you, and when you get there, there is a body, and it looks like 3 people standing around the body, another bent over the body at the neck. You see a glint of light at the blade, and you hear, and one of them goes, "More company." Roll initiative.
Perfect.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. All right. So this alley, it's only about 8 foot wide. So standing side by side is going to have you to have disadvantage on attack rolls with melee weapons like that. You're going to be kind of squeezing into each other's parts. Excuse me, that's not what I meant. You're going to be squeezing into each other's space. And that's all right because there's already 4 of them down that alleyway. So you turn the corner on this alley, and there's nowhere for them to go out the back. But you can see that they've all got the one down on the ground has a blade out in his hand. The others have so look like light crossbows, and with a strange contraption stuck on the top of them. And Gierfzock, they're only a move away from each of you. So Gierfzock, you're up first.
This strange contraption, I mean, Gierfzock's pretty familiar with modifying weapons.
If you'd like to take an action to try to do a quick look over at them, to try to figure out what they are, you may.
But we don't know their combat capabilities. Right, so...
If you kill them, you'll have all the time that you want to look at them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or you can just take one from them.
So, you know what? Gierfzock is going to cast Arcane Weapon. And how this looks, he figures that probably these things might be vampires or be working for vampires. So he casts Arcane Weapon, which makes it glow with a fiery glow. And let me just really quick double check to make sure that that is an action and not a bonus action. I'll just 1 second. Sorry,
I think it's a bonus action to cast.
I think it might be as well. I just don't want to cheat on you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you're my bae, Jim.
Oh. Bae. Wow. Okay.
I don't want to cheat on you. Let's see. arcane weapon. It is a bonus action, so I will then shoot with it. And in this case, I didn't roll particularly well, but I do have a +7. So I'm sitting at a 15.
15 will hit.
Nice. Very good then. And it will be... And it does an extra d6 of fire. So I'll tell you the two numbers separately. And it is considered a magical weapon because of the spell here. And also because of my artificer feature. So we have 8 points of piercing damage, magical, and 4 points of fire damage.
All right.
I can't also command my cough here, so he instead will move and take the dodge action up close and personal with these figures. But he's up in their grill.
Cool.
That's my...
Is he not going to attack?
I can't, because it's a bonus action to command him to attack.
Got it. Got it. Well, then that is their turn. What'll happen is the one with the let's see. So he's going to be up in the grill of two of them. One of them's going to two of them are going to draw daggers and go after that. Go after. Let's see. I need to change his name. Are we calling him Cough still?
Yeah. So he was only ready for the deception in the sewers.
Okay.
He's Cough for everything else.
Got it. So you're going to have 2 attacks against Cough, each one with daggers. All right. Let's see. Cough. I have a 17 and a 7. So
Well,
just
17 hits. Yeah.
just 17. So your Cough is going to take a whole whopping 5 points of piercing damage.
All right.
And then the other 2 that are in the back part of the group step away, and they're both going to take shots against you.
Against me? Yep. Okay. I'm at 17 at the moment.
Yeah, so one's got a 13, the other one has a 20.
All right. Well, obviously one hits.
So one of them goes pew pew with his light crossbow, and he's going to do 7 points of piercing damage as you get hit with this arrow, and where it hits you and continues to fly on by, there is a wet mark left on your arm, and you start.
All right. I need to roll concentration, and I got. I got a 14, so it should be okay.
So you're good.
Yeah.
And one more shot comes out from the top, up on the roof. This one is going up against you, Molinari. That's a natural 20.
Perfect. Love that.
You're going to take 13 points of piercing damage from that arrow as you are caught off guard. And as you guys see that arrow come down and hit Molinari, you look up just in time to see that whatever is up there back up behind the lip of the roof, making it difficult for you to see him. Molinari, you're up.
Okay. Sorry, did you say that I was also like wet or whatever, like that same?
Oh yeah.
effect? Okay.
You'll be just a little wet as well.
Okay. That does not change what I'm going to do. But, well, if he backed out of sight, I'm going to go ahead and kill what I can see.
Yeah.
And I will use Planar Warrior and attack with my longbow. one of the guys down here in the alley with us.
Okay. You have you're gonna have a -2 to your attack. So, or rather, their AC is gonna be up because if they're in the back, they have their buddies in the way. If they're in the front, then you've got cough blocking them partially. So
Okay.
just so you know, they're a little bit right now.
That was 24.
And that'll hit him.
Okay. Oh, 98s. For 20 force damage.
Yeah, and he goes down hard.
He goes back. He gets pushed, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Gets pushed.
Like smashed into the wall or something.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good to me. You watch him go flying back the rest of the way to the alley. Would you like to move or do a bonus action? No, you need a action to get that 4th damage.
Yeah. If there is anything that might be tall enough to block getting shot from the roof again, he would probably step aside, but I don't expect there to be anything.
You're going to have to, you realize that the guy up on the roof can keep doing that all day long and stepping to the edge, firing, and then stepping back, and you won't be able to see him.
Right, that's what I figured. So I think Molinari's just going to stand his ground and here to fight.
Gotcha. That means Brother Lastings, you're up.
So he's going to smack the front of his shield, and in doing so, a sort of comically large, strong man's hammer appears between the back row of their team and the front row of their team.
Yeah.
And is going to do a whirl and smack down as I cast Spiritual Weapon.
All right.
I'm aiming for the guy in the back.
All right. Go right ahead.
All right.
But Spiritual Weapon appears and then attacks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a 16.
Yes, the 16 will hit.
All right. Well, that's a bummer. That is a bummer. Let's see. 4.
4 points of damage?
4 points of damage.
Cool.
And is there anything between me and one of these guys on their front line?
The dog. The cough, excuse me.
Cough is a medium construct.
Yeah, can I move through? So it's a straight line. This is only 5 feet wide.
It's 8 feet wide, so it's not.
Can I run and
you're gonna have to navigate yourself through.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask that. Can I try and position myself almost in a similar spot as my spiritual weapon?
No, you wouldn't be able to do that because you put it with the guy at the back.
Okay. Then how about I just run up to one of these guys in the front, hit him, and move back away?
You will have that ability, but when you move away, they'll get to make an attack against you.
That's fine, because I can't keep staying there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can, but you'll have disadvantage because you're squeezing into a space.
Okay. I'm just gonna run up, hit him, and then back out. So I'm gonna kind of run up to the front, and on the way, he pulls out just this mace. And that is a 13.
It hits.
Hey.
Don't sound too excited.
Man, I am not rolling very well right now. 3 damage. I've rolled 1 on all of my damage so far. That's a bummer. Yeah, and then I'll back out so they get an attack at me.
And one of them has disadvantage because my Iron Defender will defensively pounce as it tries to take that attack of opportunity.
Okay, cool. So, one was a nat 20, but the other one's only 10 on the dice, so it's a 14 total.
14 misses.
All right. Then it goes top of the round, Gersok.
Okay, I will shoot at the guy up. Although he's hidden at the moment, isn't he?
Correct.
Is that complete cover or partial cover?
You can't see him at all, so complete.
Cannot see him at all. I will not shoot him if I cannot see him at all. I will shoot the one that I already shot. Or, yeah. Oh, no. No.
Okay.
I got an 8.
I can accept that.
But I do command Koff to make an attack, and he gets a natural 20. So, his attack is going to be, so it's already maxed, 10 plus, so 12 piercing, which is not magical because it's Koff's.
Oh, that thing is holding on for dear life.
All right, that's my turn.
All right. So far, Koff is the one who is up front, still a danger, but thanks to Mr. blowing people away in the back, you're going to be getting all the crossbow shots, while the two guys up front with daggers, or rather the one at this point, tries to save himself. So he's going to attack Koff. And that is not going to hit. 3 more crossbow bolts. 2 guys in the back. Guy on the roof steps forward, shoots, and is going to back out. Here's 2 attacks. That's a 16 total for you, so 1 will hit. And the last attack, the guy from the roof, gets an 18.
So the 18 hits, 16.
Oh, no. They're going after Molinari.
Oh, Molinari, right.
Oh, I also have 16 on AC.
Yep. So, Molinari, you take 3 points of piercing and 7 points of piercing. And the guy on the back backs up again. Molinari, it's your turn.
Well, the more of them that are dead, the less of them can shoot me. And Molinari is just like, this whole thing is just like pissing him off. Like, how dare you do this in my city? And he pulls back again with the same force, using Planar Warrior. And, I threw my dice across the room. That is 26 to hit.
26 will hit.
Again, aiming at one in the back of the alley there. Oh. For 20 force damage.
And he flies past the weapon in the back, hitting the wall.
And Molinari is just gonna like menacingly march forward with his movement now.
There's still one more that there's one in the back and then there's one in the front.
Right. I mean, he's just advancing into the alley, like.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like he's running down the alley. He's just going to take a few steps forward.
All right. That comes up to then Brother Lastings.
Could I Well, so this is what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to take the spiritual weapon and I'm going to attempt to make an attack at the other one on the back row here.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we'll do that first. That is, know this by now, a 14.
14 will hit him.
All right. Let's see. And then plus my modifier, 10.
10 damage.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he is struggling.
So that was my bonus action. For my action, or excuse me, I will interact with an item as a free action to put the mace away, and then kind of begin holding my shield, sort of advancing at the same pace as Molinari. What I'll do is I'll hit the front of my shield a couple of times and sort of bow my head, say a couple words under my breath, and reach out, and I'll cast Cure Light Wounds on Molinari. Or Cure Wounds, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a first level. So you can roll your own hit points here if you want, man. It's a 1d8 plus.
What am I rolling? 1d8 plus 3?
Yep.
Okay. I'll heal 10. Thank you very much.
Cool.
I think Molinari is very focused on the situation, but like feels the presence of his party here with him.
Nice.
That will be my turn. But I do have a question. Could I hold an action for when that dude pops his head out to send my spiritual weapon to go make an attack at it?
You
not
can
this turn, obviously.
You would have to move your spiritual weapon.
I gotcha. Because that's just a bonus action to do, to move it up there. But technically, its attack is also part of that bonus action.
Right.
Okay, cool. Just curious.
Cool. Gearsock, you're up.
Yeah, I will. I think I'll do the same. Where I will hold my action to shoot at that guy, and I will command Koff to continue attack the one that's nearly gone.
Yep.
Only 14.
14 will hit him.
All right. For 6.
And he drops.
All right.
Does Koff want to move?
He would try to move further into the lane.
A little bit further down the alley.
Yeah.
All right. And the one that is remaining, he will go ahead and he kills himself.
Okay.
The one at the top looks over the edge. He's going to fire again. And yep.
Uh, 15 to hit him.
That'll hit.
12 piercing, 5 fire.
And as he leans over, you hit him and he just keeps falling all the way down.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Archery rules.
Damn right.
So here you have 5 people looking similarly dressed, hooded cloaks, wearing all black leathers. And there is one body whose head is almost completely cut off. So
Someone,
totally 6
someone
boxes.
who looks exactly like Brother Lastings. There's a puddle of pee on the ground nearby.
I'd like to search these cloaked bodies for, I don't know, writs or identifying marks or anything.
Yeah, just like pulling back the cloaks and seeing if they're...
Yeah, so
Tattoos.
you've never seen any of these people, no tattoos at all, but you do see that they all have these daggers, all with the same mark on them. So that means there's 5 daggers. There's 5 crossbows with some sort of augmentation on them. And now that you've got time to look at it, it looks like they all have some sort of alteration on them that allows that tincture-looking bottle to be screwed on to the top. And every time that the trigger is pulled, the bolt causes the the bolt to have hit a like a wick that wets the tip of the bolt
to make them like fiery.
You think about that, you sniff it, you even sniff where you've been hit, and it doesn't smell like it's something that you're familiar with that's flammable.
Okay. Oh. Very cool.
Is there anything about the body that stands out? The person who was attacked, the victim? Besides their head being...
It doesn't necessarily look like somebody who you could name. They might be something like, I've passed this person in the street before, but not someone that you know. But you know that you've seen them in this area, in the upper area.
Are there neck puncture marks in him?
Yes.
Can we check the gang members for like fangs or any markings
Absolutely.
that might indicate beyond humanity? Yeah, Molinari's just gonna
walk up to him,
almost like a superstition-y, like he doesn't want to believe that it would be, but he's like, I'm gonna check anyways.
You pull back their lips and nothing.
Okay.
They do not have vampire.
A little sigh of relief. Just okay.
How did the one that killed himself, how did he do it?
You watched him. All you saw was him bite down.
I guess I'd check his mouth.
He has a missing tooth.
Ah, well, cyanide teeth. I've seen that in Venture Brothers.
And while you're standing there, you hear a scream coming from no more than 2 blocks away.
Should we like stash daggers and take off? Let someone else find this body?
The longer you stand there, the less the screaming happens.
So I'm gonna command
Molinari's just taking off.
Yeah, I'm gonna command Koff to stay with these bodies. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave him there. Follow those bodies if they get taken is the command, and I'm off as well.
Molinari is taking off in the direction of the screams, and anybody that goes with him will also get there in half the time it would take normally.
For sure.
It's not far enough away that
Out of combat. Anytime you move in the city.
Yes, but at this point, you are moving directly toward combat, so it will apply in this situation. Even trying to get a shortcut, finding a shorter way, you find...
We're already there.
Yep. And
all right, well, then I'm already there.
There is a creature, human, on top of another person who is struggling, and arrows are flying down from the roof toward them.
At 20.
All right. All right. Gersock, you're up.
And it literally took a few seconds for us to get here?
Yeah. You guys run in full speed. It takes you half a minute.
All right. My spell is still up then. Yep, because it's a concentration for an hour. I haven't had to break my concentration. So I would like to... do I see the people that are shooting the arrows down?
They are leaned over the edge, firing down.
They are leaned over the edge. Doesn't seem like a good thing to do. Does the guy... Sorry for asking lots of questions. Does the guy on the ground look like he's hurt already?
Right now, over a quick look, what you've got is what I told you.
Right. Good. I am going to... this is weird. This is really, really weird.
He casts Create Water.
So what I want to do is I want to cast Enlarge on... do I want to cast Enlarge or Reduce on this guy? I want to cast Enlarge on this guy, on this guy that's screaming. Can I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me see what my my spell description thing is here. If I have to touch him, I haven't cast Enlarge Reduce in a while. Just looking it up. And I can't because I have to concentrate. That's a pity. It was a really cool idea. I have to drop my my fire. You know what? I'm still going to do it. I'm going to drop the arcane weapon spell and cast Enlarge on this guy. It's a 30 feet thing, so I can do so from range. If he's unwilling, then he needs a con save.
You're going to go ahead and cast Enlarge then?
Yeah.
Does not save.
Okay, so the guy that's screaming will increase to large size.
Okay.
It has advantage on strength checks and strength saves. And any weapons or unarmed attacks deal 1d4 extra damage by him.
All right. I'll let that person go at the end of the round then.
Okay. That is what I want to do. And I guess how this looks is Giefzog, he touches his ring and he rubs the ring, and and out from the ring will come like just this tiny little vial that sort of pops out, and then it'll increase in size as he picks it up in his fingers, and it'll just increase, and he'll throw it, and it splashes, and this guy just starts to enlarge and grow, and that's how it looks. That's the end of my turn.
Cool. So in the process of it growing, Molinari, it is your turn.
You said the guys are like actively shooting down from above. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I looked at two different wrong initiatives wrong. I'll make sure it happens right next time.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I yelled out 20 and excitedly typed in 20 because I got a net. But
Oh, okay.
it's really, we can just keep this order. Molinari is going to come around the corner in the alley and see the scene, and just he slots an arrow and casts Hail of Thorns.
Where are you aiming it?
Aimed up at the centermost person above.
Okay, so problem. Just so that we can be aware. Alleyway, two things. One's growing, guy shooting, guy shooting. So
Oh, okay. I thought they were at the end of the alley. Okay.
These two guys are on the roof. If you aim for the center of them right here, it'll hit the two of them and all the way down.
No, I'll just hit one of them. I was just wanting to hit someone there.
Okay.
With Hail of Thorns active. That was not a great roll. But 15 to hit.
Yep.
So I have to make a dexterity saving throw against 12, I guess.
They will make it.
Okay, so they will take half of a d10 of damage. Do I have one? They'll take 5 damage.
All right.
On top of the arrow damage, I guess, right? Or does Hail of Thorns negate the...
I don't know. What does it say?
Just says next time you hit a creature with an attack before the spell ends, and then the spell effect. Oh, in addition to the normal effect. Okay, so they also take... 12 damage from piercing. From the arrow.
Right. One falls to the ground as crossbow hitting the concrete or hitting the cobblestones over beside, just on this side of you, or this side of the person who's starting to get larger. And they've not done anything yet. Cool. Let's see real quick. Nope. All right. So the one that's not growing, shall we say, is goes after the big one. Big swing. Definitely gonna hit. And you watch as this critter reaches back and grabs onto this person who's getting bigger, and then reaches out and just jumps onto it, biting at its neck. And will succeed. And you watch as that person screams out in pain, and the creature person just is going to town on the neck. Brother Lastings.
Can I, is this creature wearing anything? Is it just a big naked body?
It's wearing clothes, but it looks more like tattered rags.
Is it Is there like a prominent necklace or anything around its neck?
The monster?
Yes.
Not that you can see.
All right. Then I think he'll come and he'll do one of those running like cricket throws where he gets and he hops a couple of steps and then wheels. And as he throws, I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt at the creature. Which is a spell attack. Let's see. Make a range spell attack, sure enough. Does a 19 hit?
Yes.
Huzzah. It will take 4d6 radiant damage. I'm just going to roll 2 dice twice.
Okay.
First set is 6. Oops, 1 off the table. Second set is 8. So 14 radiant damage. The next attack made against the target before the end of my next turn has advantage because it is dimly glittering.
It screams out in pain. The scout up top fires at it. Rolls a 6, but also rolls a 19. And deals a whole whopping 9 points of damage to it. Yerftalk. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
The big person.
Big person.
The person finally gets big enough and separates. You can see now that with it being so large that this obviously vampire is on the neck of watch person Eve Martin.
Ooh.
And as you're going with that look of surprise that, oh no, from her back hand comes that hooded lantern as she's just swinging it full speed, full strength at the vampire.
Nice.
And she nails the vampire. Absolutely nails the vampire, dealing
An extra D4.
Yep. 6 points of bludgeoning damage to it.
Okay.
And you watch with her other hand as she's starting to reach to grab it. Girfsog, it's you.
Oh, man. Well, I've seen her get bitten. I am super inclined to save this woman. Yeah. So I think my motivations right now are to keep her alive.
Okay.
Gifzog will move up to her. So right beside her. And he'll pull out this little device from his pocket and he just flicks it like you would a coin. And then he gestures his hand and it flies toward her. And I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on her, and it's a static shock that actually just reinvigorates her.
Okay. For how much?
Nine.
Gotcha.
So that is my action. And you know what? I care less about those bodies that we saw. And so as my bonus action, I'm going to whistle. And my companion's going to start to make his way over. Up to you how long it takes. He has 40 feet of movement.
Okay. Instead of taking 5 rounds, it'll take 4.
Sure.
Molinari.
Well, seeing the threat of the vampire there, I think Molinari is going to join in the fun and open fire on the vampire. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use Planar Warrior too.
Gotcha.
Oh, I just rolled a d12. That won't do anything. Nat 20.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing a full 8 damage, right? And then
The full 8 and the full planar warrior, and then you roll them.
well, it's a nice little bonus, but
Oh, okay. I thought planar warrior was a damage dice.
it is. I just rolled real bad. I rolled a 1 and a 3. 28 damage though on the vampire, all force damage.
Nice. Who is between Molinari and the vampire?
Oh, I'm next to Eve.
So it got it. So he is going to make a bite. He'll hit. And he will do. Oh, yeah. Nine. She's hurting real bad now. And he seems to be doing better. And he will then, while he's biting while he's biting at her, he's also going to go ahead and with his other claw reach out and attack you, Gearsock.
Cool. 17 hits.
That's a natural 20.
Absolutely.
That's all right. I don't think you've really been hit. And I'm rolling my extra damage as good as Molinari. 2 1s.
All right, so how much in total?
13.
All right, I do save my constitution, my concentration. However, I'm hurting as well.
And Brother Lastings. You've got a bloody teammate. You've got a large woman who's fighting for her life that looks like she's doing terribly as well. There's a vampire that looks like he's starting to do better. There's still that guy up top.
I think his most important goal here is not to save the policewoman. It is rather to make sure that his gang members get out of this alive. So he's going to kind of rush over to where and kind of like almost baseball slide and pop up right next to where Big G is and give him a cure wounds. As he kind of gets down to him, he's going to slap him on the chest and try and like help him stabilize Not that he was not stable, but like just add support. And I'm going to cast that second level so you can roll your healing 2d8 plus 3.
Okay, 11, 14. That's amazing. Thank you.
Anything else, Brother Lastings?
Let's see. No, I think that's what I got.
All right. Then the Dusk Guard up top turns and is firing now on Molinari. It's a 15. It's gonna miss. And you'll watch him back up from the edge. No. You watch as he reloads. Gareth.
All right, 3 rounds. So I don't have crossbow expert, so I'm going to continue to focus on on healing Eve. I open another spell slot here to heal her for 10.
You do feel good about it. You are focusing on healing her, but it looks right now that your healing is not doing anything.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
That's all I can do because, yeah, I don't have any bonus actions except for when my guy's here. So, yeah.
All right. Molinari.
I think so. Molinari, the bolt from above lands at his feet, and he's just kind of smirks and refocuses on the vampire, and he's going to fire another arrow.
Okay.
With Planar Warrior. Oh, that one's not so good. 12.
12 does not hit.
All right.
You do have your action points.
This is probably a shot in the dark, but can I use an action point to have some street kids push the archer from behind into the alley?
If there were street kids here already, I would say absolutely.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna take the miss.
Okay. Then it is the vampire. And the vampire keeps eating away. And he'll do damage to her. And you watch as her big body goes limp.
All right.
And since you're still there, Gifsock, he is going to reach for you.
Yep.
It's a 19 on the dice. You are grappled.
Grappled. All right.
Brother Lastings.
I think can I get this thing in a headlock?
You can sure try.
All right. That's what I'm gonna do.
What's the purpose of the headlock?
To keep it from biting anything.
You're going to try to keep it from biting something.
Yeah,
okay.
wrenching its neck like this. Since it's got someone else grappled, it doesn't have hands to fight me here. So all I'm doing is just slipping my arm under its chin.
Well, it can grapple with one hand.
Okay.
So it's basically just grabbed onto him instead of full on holding on. It's grabbed onto him.
Okay. I'm wanting to go into a headlock to disable his bite attack.
You can go in. Okay, you can go into a headlock to disable his bite attack from everybody but you.
Fine.
Okay.
What am I doing here? Just an attack?
If you're trying to grapple him, it's going to be your athletics versus his athletics or acrobatics.
I got a 22.
Oh, nice. Let's see. You got a 19.
Headlock. So that's my action.
Mm-hmm.
With my bonus action, I will recast my spiritual weapon and have it attack him.
Okay.
Does it get advantage,
Does not.
even though this thing's grappled?
Grapple doesn't call for advantage.
All right.
If you would like to spend an action point, you can give it advantage.
Nah.
0 point.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
So this attack is not going to hit. Does a 9 hit?
Does not.
Fine. Coquina clutch fall to the ground.
He's going to the scout up top is going to continue firing at Molinari, hoping to God he can do better than anything he's done so far. This has not been any good. That's a 20 to hit you. Poor man's 20. And you will take a whole whopping 7 points of piercing damage from that shot. And Gersock, he's got a hold of you while he's in this headlock.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to attack him with disadvantage with my crossbow. Lean in, put my crossbow right up to him. Just.
You can spend your action point to make it to have no disadvantage.
Ooh. Do I want to do that?
You do.
Okay. All right. It's spent.
Get him good.
So that makes it 24 to hit.
Absolutely.
It's just going to be the magical piercing damage at this point. Actually, could I have bonus action my arcane weapon back into existence? I may as well do that.
Sure, yeah. I'm done with that.
All right. So we do 12 piercing, 4 fire. My last spell slot. And one of those. All right.
Do me a quick, let's see. What's your passive perception? Cool.
Passive perception should be 14.
You, with your passive perception, right beside you is the guy who's been shot down, and his crossbow is there as well. And again, brought right to your attention, that crossbow has whatever that liquid is on top of it that's coming from that bottle. They've been using it to shoot the vampire.
Right. Well, I'll freely say a sentence, which will just be, use that vial, guys. It'll hurt him, I think.
Molinari?
Go ahead.
All right, Molinari looks down and sees the crossbow, and he's going to slide to it and pick it up and take a shot with it.
It's a light crossbow. It's only going to do a D8 of damage.
D8 of damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I don't. There's no bonus or anything on it.
Oh no bonus on it at all.
So I just get my dex. Is that right?
Oh, and you're proficient with this crossbow. It's just a light crossbow with a special attachment.
Well, it's a poor man's 20.
Absolutely.
All right. So D8 with guessing some kind of holy damage. A 3.
3.
Is that with your dex as well?
No, that's sorry. You're a smart man. 9.
Your dex is a 6?
Yeah.
How?
It can't be.
Sorry. That's with proficiency. Sorry, 4.
Okay. Wait. So it's a total of 4, so you have 6 total.
Yeah.
All right. The vampire screams out in pain, similarly to what you heard when you came running up. But not like you've heard since the fight began. He is going to let go. He's going to let go of Gearsock and is reaching like crazy for Molinari. And he's just going to make 2 claw attacks, not even trying to get out.
Am I just like ragdoll riding on the back of this guy or something?
No,
My legs flipping around.
You were holding him on, and he.
All I can think of is Jim Varney riding on the back of something here for some reason.
So a 14 is going to miss you, Molinari, but the 19 will not. So you are going to be hit with a whole whopping. Gosh, you should be happy for these D4s. 6 points of piercing damage from his claws. Brother Lastings.
Are one of these vials within my reach?
No.
Could I use a free interaction to get something out of my bag?
Can you use an interaction to get something out of your bag?
Yeah, like a vial of holy water.
Yes.
Then what I would like to do is essentially try and shove it in its mouth.
Okay. You can make an attack roll at disadvantage, but you're also not proficient with it, so just strength.
Ooh.
You can spend a hero point as well.
Man, I feel like this might be good enough. But I'm in between. I'll spend a hero point. What do I add? A D6?
But the way that we've been playing it is you can use it to give yourself advantage since there's not an inspiration option. Since we're using it, so you can use that to give yourself advantage story-wise. Do something.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and use the advantage. I rolled 1 better. Shoot. Okay, 18.
That will hit.
All right. Cool. So yeah, I've shoved this holy water vial into this thing's mouth.
All right, and it screams and it's muffled. And having done that, I will tell you that for this fight, you feel that because there's no way for it to, I guess, for this much of the holy water to get off of it or to move on, it will affect its regenerating for a bit.
Very nice. Well done.
At which point, however, the scout is going to realize what you've done, and it's going to fire at you. So here it comes, Brother Lastings. It's a 22 to hit you. Big damage. That's good enough. You're going to take 8 points of piercing from that shot. Gearsock.
Right, so he's let go of me, but he's still in melee range?
Mm-hmm. And like from what you can see, since you're at the front side of it, you're seeing this foam just churn out of its body as its body's trying to reject it.
Right, this is the final round before my doggo shows up. He's foaming at the mouth. Looks pretty distracted. You know what? I'm going to try and move away.
Okay. I'll make a claw attack against you.
Yeah, sure.
It's a 16.
Nope.
Awesome.
I will attack without disadvantage. Oh, that's a 25.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we've got 7 magical piercing and 5 fire.
Awesome. Anything else?
No, because next round my cuff will get here. So yeah.
Molinari.
Is this crossbow thing that vial? Is it? It's still got holy water in it.
You think so?
Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fire again.
Or rather, whatever it is
Right. Fire again. That's a 22 to hit.
Yes.
11 damage of whatever type of damage it's doing.
Force. Do you want to move or use? No, you used your bonus.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't use my bonus.
Ah.
I might back up a little bit. I don't like the way this thing reacts to being damaged with this stuff. So I think Molinari's taking a few steps back.
Okay. The vampire is up, and it is going to grab at the arms that's holding it. And that's a natural 20, so you're grabbed. And it is going to bite you. $17.
Does not hit.
Does not hit. So what armor are you wearing? Is it scale?
It's chainmail.
Man, you feel the tips of its fangs as it starts to break. It literally just grabs your arm away from its body and it bites down, and you feel the tips of its fangs come through as it's breaking through some of the chains, but the other chains are holding it in place. And it's just chomping away at your arm, but the chain is holding it back. And that's all that's holding it back. Is that 18 with a shield?
It's a 19 with a shield.
Okay. Oh, you've got the arm.
I do. No, I don't. Not on this character.
Oh. Would have been even cooler.
It would have.
Brother Lastings, you're up.
I'm so glad that he tried so hard to bite, and you asked me what type of armor I have, because if the vial plan didn't end up killing this thing, I had a contingency break glass in case of emergency plan.
Heat metal on yourself?
I'm going to heat metal on myself because I have a hold of it and it has a hold of me. So I am going to heat metal on my armor
Oh,
and choose to fail.
okay.
I actually have the spell pulled up here. We will both take 2d8 fire.
Roll it.
That is 2d8 is 11 fire damage. I will make sure I mark it on mine too.
And you watch as fire starts to come out from the foam and fire from his eyes. You're able to drop the vampire.
Oh, it's dead?
Yes.
Immediately turn that off. Like my last level 1 create water spell. It's happening right now.
This is a poor decision. No.
It's so hot.
As you all look up, that scout is gone. As you gather around to take a look at that vampire, the way that it fought, wild in its eyes, it did not seem to have any bit of humanity that you have heard of in stories of vampires being these super charismatic and wily beings and beautiful creatures that just enchant you. It was just some mindless being that was once human that was drinking blood and destroying people. Looking over at the body of Eve Martin, her body begins to shrink down to back to its regular size, and at least Girfsock feels a twinge of failure to this woman as Cough comes running around the corner up to him at his side. But then the back of the hair on the back of Molinari's neck starts to stand up, and behind you, this crackle of lightning and electricity and this pink light, and you turn around and you all see this portal immediately open in this pink light, and out walking through it is this woman in a long skirt who is shirtless, and you are frozen in place. And she walks by, making eye contact with each of you as she walks towards that vampire and looks at the vampire, reaches to pick him up, notices Eve, picks up Eve, puts Eve over her shoulder, grabs the other vampire by his ankle, dragging him across the cobblestones back to the portal. And your body may be frozen solid in place, but your eyes are moving, and you can watch around, and you can look and see what's going on. And through that portal, as that person, that woman goes through it, you see a tour. And then you fall as the portal goes out. The next thing that you notice, Brother Lastings, you're being slapped on the face, shaken. And there's a man leaning over you whom you recognize. You've seen in posters around town. You can't quite put your finger on who this guy is, but he looks so familiar. You swear as he wakes you up, Giftsock, you're like, I know who this person is. Who here is helping us? Who part of the aristocracy has helped us out? And oh no, oh, this is terrible. The hand, when they find out that we've killed the vampire, but we still were neutralized. This is going to be bad. And Molinari, when you get woken up, your eyes open and you go, Saber Joe? And that's where it fades out. Cool. Thank you, guys. I did not expect it to go in that direction. As always with you guys, you're always a surprise to watch and play with. Thank you for a good game, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Yes.
Thanks, Jim. This was great.